We need more white guys giving their insight on things they don't understand. I like feet. I thought you were just like, never just lick your fingers.
I'm gonna go get my flamethrowers. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Podthany Forecastano here.
Welcome back to I'm not doing that. Welcome back to the Podwood Forecast.
Welcome back. We're so glad to have you here. If things sound different, because obviously people are going to be like, wait a minute.
They're in a different room.
The atmosphere feels
I mean,
different.
it's possible because my house is so much tinier. I don't know if maybe there's more echo in yours, but I feel like it's fine.
Yeah, your house is bigger than my apartment, definitely. I'm just turning my microphone up.
I don't know about that, actually. I feel
Really?
like they're probably the same.
Our
living room
living room is definitely more spacious.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Your kitchen,
Yeah,
your kitchen's bigger than ours, and then Matt has a bedroom, and my bedroom is really small.
That's
I feel
true,
they're
and I have
probably.
a
I would
very
say
big
they're
bedroom.
probably the same at the most, but we also have a separate garage. So if you count that, but
yeah,
our house is very tiny.
I'm just in my mind. I'm just like, but this is an apartment. There's no way an apartment is bigger than a house.
Yeah, we just have a small little ranch house. So
well, you have a garage, so there's
true.
that.
Yeah.
So we're recording in my place tonight using my. You should have brought the Shure mic with you. So,
I was gonna ask, but that's like his expensive one. So I was nice and took his SM58 just because he has like 3 of them and they're only
talking
$80.
about Matt Powers, the guy that we steal equipment from.
Plus, usually the mic I use anyway. So
yeah, true. I just want you to sound as good as me.
yeah, someday.
Well, yeah, I plan on.
I'll eventually buy my
eventually.
own when I start finally recording my own stuff on my computer instead of my phone, like I have been. But
okay,
someday.
Okay. Well, today I just wanted to say today we are going to talk about something special. We're going to be talking about our band's EP, "Still My Soul,"
which when this is out will have been released, but as we're
should have
recording,
been.
yeah, but at this point when we're recording it, it is not out yet. It's releasing November 9th.
Except to our pledgers.
Yes.
Our pledgers have already received a copy.
Yeah, we had a bit of a thing a while ago where we used to sing pledge music, which we could do a whole podcast on that whole situation, but
we kind of already we talked about it in our other podcast show that we used to have.
Yeah, true. But basically we had people who pledged and like donated money and was like and basically it's kind of like I don't know, Kickstarter or whatever you want to call it, where you pledge money and you get things in return. It's not just donating, but like, so one of the things was if you donate a certain amount, you'll get it like a week early or whatever. So people at this point have had it. I've already seen a thing on Instagram of someone really liking it. Yeah. So that was fun. But yeah, it is Monday right now, and it comes out this Saturday, November 9th at midnight. And we're really excited to release it because we recorded Glow, the first single for it, like last year, 2018. Probably in August, I think, and we released it. Or released it in August at least.
Yeah, I think we recorded it around like the end of spring.
I think you're right. Yeah, like June or whatever.
Yeah.
But we recorded Glow a while ago, and then we went back a few months later and recorded a couple other songs, and then we recorded the more acoustic song just at our own house and had our producer produce that. So that one we didn't record in studio, but we recorded 3 songs in studio. We did the intro and a Warn.
Yes.
Kind of on our own, but still had our producer like kind of mix it for us a bit to make it sound better.
Yes.
But yeah, so we did that. It's been a year.
It's been a while.
In the making, technically.
It's been a long time of waiting.
Yeah, and the reason it's taken a while is because we made Glow, and then all of us started getting full-time jobs, and we all started moving. Me and Matt got a new house. You got a new place. Chandler moved to Chicago. I got a new full-time job. You got a new full-time job. Chandler got a new full-time job. It was just like we all became adults at the same time.
Yeah.
And so we had months of, still doing shows every now and then, but we didn't really get time to record as much. Phone. And so we finally got into the studio to record, and we had to, do some more stuff on our own before we could finish it. So it was probably longer than it should have been, but I think releasing
Probably.
it kind of around mid-fall time is kind of perfect. So
Yeah,
I think
almost
I'm
a
happy.
year after
Yeah.
the single was released.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a lengthy, somewhat expensive process for us, but we're doing it because we love it and it's fun, and I'm beyond excited for people to finally hear it because I've been talking about it to people a lot, and probably
Same here.
overhyping it for them, but I don't care. I'm just really excited.
And I'm excited to talk about it. But
Yeah.
before we go into it, I just wanted to take a moment to read our first review
Oh
of
yeah,
the show.
that's right.
We finally got a review on our podcast on Apple iTunes.
Who's it
which
by?
we this is from Cryptid Gal.
I like that name.
On iTunes.
Cryptid
And
is one of my favorite words.
why
I don't know. It's just funny.
cryptid? Is it just fun to say?
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It makes me laugh for some reason. Like you're a cryptid. I don't know.
Well, Cryptid Gal, Mitchell approves of your name. So if you leave a rating and review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I don't know. It's supposed to be the same place, but
Yeah.
I think both of those places work. We will give you a shout out, and we will most likely read your review. Cryptid
Nice.
Gal says gives us 5 stars. Which we have 2 5-star ratings, but this is our first review.
Yeah, with like
she
words.
she says fun and familiar. Sure, it's another talk podcast, but these guys host it well. Yay. I was engaged and literally forgot I was listening for so long. Wait,
That's a good thing.
okay.
I know.
I'm like,
I know what
she's
they
like,
mean.
wait, I forgot I was listening to this.
Yeah.
I know what she's saying, but I was just trying to
It's
be
when
funny.
like you zone out listening to something.
Yeah. I truly enjoyed their conversations and opinions. Recommend. Yay.
Dope.
Thanks, Cryptid Gal. So, if you have some nice things, well, I guess it doesn't have to be nice. We'll
Yeah.
still read it.
I mean, we won't read any like troll, rude, intentionally like offensive things, but I mean, just
Maybe
like
we
leave
will.
like a normal review. Or
I'll read any review.
funny.
that I get.
No, you won't. I will stop you.
Okay. All right.
No, that's okay though.
So, thanks again, Cryptid Gal, for that
Yeah.
lovely and honest, genuine review. And I mean, we're very self-aware of how unoriginal this show is.
Yeah, I was like, because I was like, there's so many podcasts. Yeah, like literally another talk podcast. That's true. It is just another talk podcast of just 2 dudes who think their opinions matter to people, but we just do it because we get bored and we feel like it.
Yeah.
Like we're not expecting to try and make money or do anything. So
And
it's just kind of
usually-
fun to just do it, to have an excuse to hang out and talk about things we like, and then like, I don't know, hopefully spark other conversations with people if they happen to listen to it or something.
And it's funny because like other podcasts like this, they usually have something going for it. Like, there's like either celebrities or YouTubers.
Yeah.
So they already got a following. Us, we
have a band with like a few hundred listeners.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean,
we're not
Glow
a-
is at
yeah.
6,000 streams.
Yeah.
Outside is at 2,000. Ballad of a Saint is. Let me see.
yeah, how many
It's
is it?
about
at?
to
One of my
break
friends
1,000.
is like really desperately trying to get it to 1,000 for
Really?
us. Yeah, he keeps messaging me. He's like, I'm listening to Ballad of a Saint right now. I'm trying to get it to 1,000.
Nice. I'm sorry. No dead silence. Do. Just checking my Spotify for artists.
You can cut it.
Track app. Ballad of a Saint is at 953
Oh, okay.
streams of all time.
47 more, not bad. We can
So
get
even
there.
though this podcast is about our new EP, go listen to Ballad of a Saint.
Yeah, go listen to that, get it to 1,000. Listen to just the whole EP too, even though some of it's really rough around the edges. But I mean, we made that on our own for free in our basement with our own gear.
Yeah,
Produced
which
it
I
ourselves.
am proud of. But
I'm still proud of that EP. I still
we can
think
definitely do
outside-
better now.
Yeah. Micah's song and Tin Can. Well, Tin Can's not
Tin
bad, but
Can's
there's
pretty
moments.
good.
But Micah's song is really rough.
Yeah.
we didn't mix that one very well. But I think
We're really
Outside
selling
is
our
still
EP.
great. I like
Outside is great.
I liked what we did with Outside, and I still think No Retreat is really solid. And
No
people
Retreat's
love
very
Ballad
clean.
I think Ballad of a Saint is still like kind of chaotic, but I still like that recording.
I don't even think it's chaotic. I think I've never really had any issues with it.
Not like
honestly.
chaotic in a bad way. It's just it has a lot going on, you know.
I
Not
love
in like
it.
a bad
That's why I
way.
love
though.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Chaotic in like a chaotic good.
Frick
but
you, Mitchell.
but
I
No
like it.
Retreat, I still think is like really solid for.
Yeah,
That's our best quality recording of our own.
of our
Glow
own,
is
yeah.
our best one right now. That's out in the public, but for ones we recorded ourselves, No Retreat's definitely our best work, I would say.
Yeah, and I think if we re-recorded Outside, we could do better. But
Yeah.
Outside is still great.
Yeah,
Anyway,
totally. Anyways, we're ranting. But
Enough
this,
about
this episode
our
is
past-
about us and our music. So
Still My Soul,
Yeah.
which is actually, it was originally supposed to be the Glow EP.
yeah, we were just gonna
Or
name
just
it Glow, but we had many extensive conversations about that, especially
Mostly
with
Chandler's idea to
Yeah.
change it.
Because, and I kind of started to agree with him after a while. And even if it was still called Glow right now, I wouldn't like mind that, you know, but I would still like that. But I think Still My Soul kind of fits the mood better, especially the imagery of the album art. I think it works, and it's kind of cool because we don't have a song called Still My Soul on it, but when people go to listen to Infinem, it's a line in
first
there.
line,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like people be like, oh, okay. So I kind of like that with albums where
Yeah,
the
title of the album.
yeah, it's
isn't
just a lyric in a
title.
song.
Yeah,
But it's not necessarily named after just one of the songs. So
yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool. Plus, having commas in your album title is super hipster and cool now. But anyways, we had a lot of talks, and I remember we kind of got to a point where like, is Glow like a little like too simple and cheesy? There's a lot of things called Glow out there, and there's
Some
like that
Netflix
Glow
show.
TV show. If you search Glow, I was like, oh, I'll get confused with that. And so there's nothing really called Still My Soul, and it felt so. Basically, we kind of had back and forth with that. I don't know if we should, and then we kind of just ended up deciding that we wanted to, and I'm pretty happy with it at this point.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of like phrases and such that when you just hear them once, your mind kind of wanders of what it could mean.
Yeah.
you know. So like you hear "Still My Soul" and you're like, oh,
Ooh,
so
my soul is still.
oh wow, but is it? So yeah,
We went through a lot of not like creative differences, but like creative discussions. Because I think
with the title or the whole EP,
just kind of like some certain things in general, but not necessarily on a disagreement level, but just like the process, especially, which we can go into more depth in this when we actually get to talking about Infinem. But like an example was deciding how we wanted Infinem to sound and what we wanted to do with that, because that was your idea originally, to change how it sounded from our like debut EP technically, because it was a much more somber, like acoustic driven song, and it turned into like an 80s like dance rock song
Yeah.
almost. But we'll get into more detail with that later. I think now, should we just go ahead and start from the first
should we talk
track?
about "Still"?
Yeah, I think Still has a little fun story behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it's only like 50 seconds long. It's
Yeah.
the intro track of the EP. And it's definitely the brainchild of Chandler.
Yeah, and me.
And, well, I feel, well,
It was like technically, I remember, and I'm not trying to like steal credit here. I'm not trying to steal credit from Chandler, but I remember I had the idea of like an instrumental opening, like some kind of synth instrumental opening, and Chandler just happened to be the one to
he
actually
just
bring
kind
it
of
up.
ran with it.
And I was like, oh crap, I had that idea. So me and him kind of
was
like
my
came up
idea.
with the idea of how we wanted this. And the intro is technically just me and Chandler, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's his synth and my acoustic guitar.
There was an original take that we did.
We
but
lost it though.
we couldn't get it off of his machine.
Yeah, he recorded
So-
it on his machine, but there's no way
He
to
recorded
export
it.
the
It was like a
audio.
synthesizer that could record.
I wish I
on
knew
it.
what kind of synth it was so we could tell people, but that thing is really cool and
think it's a
probably really
Morg.
expensive.
I think it
Is
was
it
a
that?
Morg.
As a
I don't
little
know.
like mic you can attach to it and stuff, but
Yeah.
he originally just recorded it on that, but there's no way to export the audio.
Yeah.
So
So he just
lost
ended
it.
up taking it with him to our basement and
At the old
laid
Red
down
Low.
the synth track and rip the Red Low,
Yeah.
which is where I guess we did some recording of Warren in the new in your
Yeah,
new house.
we did the original demo for it in the kitchen there, but then that ended up kind of being a mess because some stuff
Oh,
was clipping.
we still kept those takes.
Oh, true, like the guitar
like
stuff.
the guitar.
Yeah.
But with still, I wasn't even there when this happened, but you guys just kind of went at it that night, and he just laid down and
that song
we made
honestly
sure
took like 5 minutes, 10 minutes
Yeah.
to make. Like it's kind of, but I mean, the first time it took like an hour, like, oh, maybe this sound. But the second time when he brought it over to Matt and I's place in the basement, we just like knew what to do. So we just found what key it was in, recorded it, and then
we made sure that it was in the same key as Glow so that it led up to Glow.
Yeah.
And let's see, there's synth. You laid down some guitar.
Yeah, I did a little
acoustic
like
guitar.
finger picking, like my. It doesn't sound like My Name Is Jonas, but just like that type of finger picking, like the like very rapid thing, and I put my acoustic. It's really subtle, but I like it's kind of in the background.
Isn't there some like chimes in there too?
Yeah, but that's also from the synth.
Okay. Yeah,
Wait, no, actually, I think you're right. Didn't we? We
recorded
recorded some little bell
chimes.
things, right?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
No, wait,
but I thought there was.
I don't know if we did. I know we did it on the first one. I don't know if we got it on the second. No, wait, we did. I think.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask them or listen to it again. But we had like little bell things that we were kind of hitting around, and I think he might have brought them over the second time. I actually don't remember.
I think he could have.
I think he did. I feel like Chandler would have wanted to keep those on there. But yeah, we recorded some little like bell chime thingies, the synth, and then my acoustic. So the intro is kind of just like me and Chandler, which I think
sort
is
of like
cute.
timpani roll at the end for it to like.
Yeah, and then he kind of like there's like a knob where he can like kind of basically blow out the audio, so it goes like, and then it goes right in the Glow. So it's like this. It starts out really quiet, so don't like have your volume all the way up because you think it's too quiet, and then Glow breaks your eardrums. But it starts out quiet and just gets louder and louder and louder, and then it like there's like a wave audio, and it just builds up and then goes right in the Glow like without like seamlessly. Like it could just be part of it is technically just part of Glow, but I think it's kind of cool to have it as a separate intro track.
Yeah.
So,
which we do use it live whenever we do Glow.
I like that we do that. It's kind of cool.
But yeah, that's still, you know.
So that's and we just called it Still because Still My Soul, obviously, and I think it's just kind of like. I mean, still, it's like this. It's very meditative. The sounds we use, So it's just like
except for
still,
when it climaxes at the end.
Yeah, like, but yeah, it's very meditative sounds. So we thought still
and then Glow.
So that's we spent a lot of time talking about the 40-second track. So get ready to talk about the six-minute songs. But no, that's the story behind Still. It's nothing too crazy, but it was just an idea. We originally weren't going to have it on there, but me and Chandler really wanted to have a bit of an instrumental thing, and he brought it up, and I was like, I was kind of thinking that too, so we made it happen, and I'm glad we did because I also think it wraps the sound of the album in a nice bow because
it kind of combines organic and electronic at the same time.
Because a lot of stuff, like almost all of our songs now on this song have like a synth intro. Like there's Still in the Glow and then Infinite.
I'm a big sucker for that, for just having like that synth
so like maybe
intro.
I don't know if maybe people will think that's repetitive, but I mean they all sound different though. It's not like the same sound on every single one. So but I mean Sarcasms doesn't really have any synth except for maybe some underlying like pad
there's
sounds,
some pad in there, but there's also the piano.
But that's just like a ballad that doesn't really have any like full frontal like synth sounds on it. Like that's an honest like just acoustic like rock ballad. But
I also like it because it just feels better to have for it to be a 5-track EP.
I was thinking that too.
Even though it is kind of cheating because it's
because I was like, No
really
Retreat was 5, and this one needs to be 5.
Yeah,
so.
We just didn't really have any time to make a full other song
or the money. Well, I mean, we could have, but like, Dude, studios are. I mean, the studio we did, we get a deal, not literally.
It's a great deal.
It's not like he's
but
cheaper
that doesn't
for us,
mean
but,
that it's inexpensive.
but like he's very fair with his prices.
Yes.
But it was still. Do
Nick
we even
Statina,
want to
by
say
the
how
way.
much it was? Is it weird to tell people how much it is? How much you paid?
Probably. We probably shouldn't. I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
But
I'm like, is that the same as like asking someone how much their house costs? Like, is that just something you don't talk about? I don't really know the
I mean,
etiquette
it's not
for
really
that.
that. It's just I don't know. Since we got a deal with Nick Statina, I wouldn't.
I don't
wanna
think he
give
was
any.
like cheaper for us though. It was just that he's just very fair with like everyone in general with his business. Like he's not like he would charge the same for anyone. It's not like he charged us less, but
True.
but he's like a home studio and he does great work. We got a deal compared to what an actual like studio charge us.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that his studio isn't a legit studio,
Yeah,
especially
but
now.
You know what I mean, yeah.
Because he's remodeled the place and everything.
I mean,
and
I've heard like actual studio work compared to his, and I feel like he's better.
Yeah,
like he's really. I just want to talk about Nick real quick.
Okay.
Nick Statina is super. Statina, right? That's how
Yeah.
you say his. Okay, I was like, is it Statina? I'm dumb.
Statina.
Sorry, Nick, but yeah, Nick is super, super talented,
Yes.
and he recently kind of revamped his studio, and it looks really awesome now. We went there before that, but I mean that doesn't change the quality of his work. Like he's just talented, no matter what setting. I feel like, but he really was great to work with. Invigorate Recording is his recording studio. Look it up. We'll probably link it or something in the description, but he has done a lot of work, and his production work is as good as anything you'd hear on the radio. Like it really is. I was like blown away the first time I heard one of our songs, like with his quality. I was like, this is crazy. Like I'm actually like hearing like a real recording of us.
Right. Not some DIY.
Yeah.
Kinda.
So it's just really cool, and his prices are really hard to beat. And it sounds like a commercial right now, but I just genuinely like want to recommend him because he deserves the work.
I mean, no, yes.
Yeah, and if anyone here is like
we're promoting
near,
him.
yeah, if anyone here is like near the Chicago area and like you need someone to record your stuff for like a not insane price, like look him up seriously.
Yeah, and anything he ever like posts on Instagram stuff that he's working on, still sounds great.
Plus,
and,
plus he really works with whoever he's working. Like with us, like he made a point to make sure we liked what was happening. He doesn't just make something. And I've heard stories of people spending like $5,000 to get a couple songs recorded, and then the dude just works on it and they send it to him like, here's your song, and then you don't hear from them ever again, and then they end up not liking it. But he like every step of the way he's like, does this sound good? What if we went with this? He'll even make suggestions. He'll work with you every step of the way. He'll send you demos. Hey, is there anything you want me to fix in this? Yeah, let's remove that snare hit, or let's remove that cymbal hit at 1 minute and 10 seconds, or let's boost the vocals in the back, and like he will do everything. And it's great. So there's my rant about how great, and this is my first time working in a studio environment. Probably all of us, except for Chandler. But it was great.
Well, Trenton, I think.
And Trenton, probably.
With Alex and the Exos. And
yeah,
such.
that's true.
But yeah, I love Nick because he is all about like what you're trying to go for.
Yeah.
Because I remember like before we even met him, he was communicating to us through Chandler.
Yeah.
And he was asking, okay, what are some artists or albums that you like that, you know, kind of go along with the sound that you're trying to go for?
Which I think it's really great to have a point where it's even like with people who draw, it's like artists use reference for everything, and same for producers. Like they want a reference to like a sound.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Do you remember the albums we gave him?
I think I think the obvious ones are like Mumford & Sons, Wilder Mind, and Pine Grove, I think.
I don't think we used Pine Grove as an example.
I think we did later on.
Did
with,
we?
Like, the other songs, like
Probably for Sarcasms, yeah.
Dawes, I think.
I think we actually gave him. I may be wrong. I think me and Chandler gave him some songs from Paramore, Brand New Eyes, because
okay.
Because honestly, the production on that for Brand New Eyes is like pretty reflective of Glow, in my opinion. Like the song Where the Lines Overlap, I think I suggested to Chandler we use as an example because that has like a very similar beat with the drums and stuff. And I was like, this would be a great energy to go for. So I think we used that as a reference with Glow, I remember. So yeah, we used, kind of like the typical ones. We may have used, I know we use Foo Fighters on like some of our profiles, but I don't know if we gave that to him as a reference point.
That probably, I wouldn't doubt
maybe
it. Chandler
maybe
did.
for Glow, like the more rock songs.
Yeah.
Did you give him any of those Bears Den songs for Infinite?
I think I probably mentioned it to him.
But yeah, it's kind of cool. He'll just be like, what? And it's not
He'll
like
be
he's
like,
not going to copy that sound. He just wants
Right.
to know like the general vibe.
Yeah.
Vibe check.
Yeah.
So
oh gosh, memes.
I don't really know that meme. I just have seen it a couple times. So I don't know if that's how you're supposed to say it.
I saw some pretty funny ones. I can't remember, but yeah, I think he's definitely. I was on the doing an interview with John Norton, WGLT, which by the time you're hearing this is probably out by now. So go check our social medias to see if that's out. It'll be like a shortened version of this, but
Yeah.
John Norton is great. But he was like, John was saying like, yeah, I think you guys have. It feels like you guys are finally at the point where you've like got you've pinpointed your sound.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah,
because we were definitely on a teeter-totter of do we want to be a rock band or like a folk band, and we kind of like
we still don't know.
Yeah, we like struck this balance. Like I feel like if I had to define the Sherwood Forest sound, it's like indie folk rock with synth folk rock almost, like because we use synth a lot in our songs.
And there's some like arena rock kind of aspects to it.
But like I think at this time there's like certain elements to like a Sherwood Forest song. Like it's not like we would have to like check a box and everything has a sound the same. But I think we're at a point like what John said. I think we kind of are. It's not going to take long for us to put a song together at this point because for a while, and you can go into more depth on this, but like how Infinem sounded on our first EP compared to now, I think that really pushed us in the direction of like our current sound because we turned that into like a rock, like a synth rock tune from the 80s kind of. And we put a lot of synth. We included synth on our acoustic song "Worn," and we put some synth stuff in "Glow." And it just I feel like that kind of spread and made its way into other songs after we emphasized it so much for the new Infinem track. And but yeah, I think
although
that's cool.
There's a part of me that almost kind of begs to differ, and we'll go into a break in a little bit, but. I feel like it's been kind of hard for us because it's not like that we can go into the studio whenever we want.
Yeah.
And especially in the last couple of years, we've been kind of exploring like different sounds that we like. I feel like we finally could, like, if we were to make an EP, we could finally have a better sense of like getting songs that sound like each other.
Yeah.
But like we just had such a period of like trying different sounds, and then I feel like this EP is kind of a reflection of that.
Every song is really different, but I feel like we somehow managed to make it cohesive.
It still sounds like us.
Yeah, like I don't think people are gonna like be whiplashed by the style. I think we managed to blend because again, like with Worn, we included a lot of synth stuff in it because going from Infinem to Worn we thought was maybe tonal whiplash, so we kind of found a way to make everything meld into each other. But I think it works, and I like when bands don't sound the same on every song. I think it's cool for bands to change it up as long as it doesn't sound like they're having an identity crisis, but I don't think we do because I think we were pretty sure of what we were going for when we went to the studio for this one.
I think it's more of just I don't feel like it's an identity crisis really, because it's just not. For me with songwriting, since a lot of I do write a lot of the songs, I'm just like inspired by everything.
Yeah.
So like I'll listen to an artist and I'll be like, I want to write a song like that.
That's kind of how I am.
I don't copy artists, but I'm like, oh, I want something with that kind
You're
of
like, oh,
feel.
yeah, I like this.
And
sound.
then I listen to another artist, and I'm like, oh, this, yeah. So
that's exactly what I do, and why all my solo stuff sounds completely different, because it just depends on what I'm listening to that day.
yeah,
And I feel like it's the same with you, but I like that because it keeps it fresh. And you know, if every song on this EP was a loud rock song like Glow, like it would be kind of boring. Like,
yeah,
you know, we have a synth intro, we have a rock song, we have an 80s synth rock tune, we have a folky little acoustic ballad, I guess, and then we have just like a piano, like rock acoustic folky kind of ballad. Like it kind of, I feel like it's a nice flow from like rock to folk, you know, like it's the sounds transition into each other in some kind of way, you know.
Yeah.
I that's what I like about it. And it all depends on, you know, we put a lot of thought into it, and it's only like 5 songs, you know. It's not like, it's harder to put together an album. Yeah, 4.5 technically, but it's a lot harder to put together like a 10 or 15 song album, of course. But we did put a lot of thought in the order of the songs we wanted, you know, which, you know, one comes first, which should be the ending song and stuff like that, and all that. So, you know, a lot of thought went into like every aspect of this, I feel like. So
yeah, definitely. Let's go into a break right now. So we're gonna go into a break. You guys can go stand up and get your snacks. Go to the bathroom. Obviously, while the episode is still playing.
Yeah.
I mean, you could pause it, I guess. We'll see you in a few. Bye.
Wait.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an idea.
Hello, Father Mitchell.
Hello.
I just want to say that I am very grateful for the fact that you created me all those years ago and named me your son. I am a robot. You are my creator and my father.
Who's your daddy?
You are.
That's right.
But I also want to open up and say that sometimes I feel very alone and feel like that there may be others out there who feel the same.
Well, son, have you tried BetterHelp.com?
I'll have to think about that.
Okay.
But mostly, I did some research and found out about podcasts.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it would be cool to start a show where I can connect with other robots in this world, and so that we may share the same feelings. But I don't know how to start a podcast. Hold on. Wait a minute. I am doing some research.
Put a little love in it.
That is good advice, Father. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hold on. I am finding out about this website called Anchor.fm. If you haven't, this is something that I'm reading on their website. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Wow, that's crazy, isn't it, Father Mitchell?
That's insane, my child.
Anchor apparently has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer, or if you're a robot, just your own body. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more.
Wow. I'm reacting to that statement.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. I'm still learning English, Father. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Wow.
That's amazing. How is that legal?
I know, it's so easy, it should be legal. Anyways, I am inspired, Father. Thank you again so much for being my father. I love you. I'm going to go make a podcast now.
Please move out. It's been 30 years.
Why must you treat me this way, Father?
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Peterson. I wanted to say that I've been enjoying listening to the Podwood Forecast podcast. Clifford and Mitchell have a lot of interesting things to say. Be sure to subscribe to the show and leave a rating and review Bucko. It's a darn good podcast.
All right, thanks for Coca-Cola Cinnamon for sponsoring this podcast.
I've still yet to try it. Do you have more?
No, I drank all of mine.
I like one. I feel like I'm not gonna like it, but I just want to try it.
It's an acquired taste,
Yeah.
I'm sure, but
Yeah.
I've explained this before, but Coca-Cola Cinnamon, it's not the kind of drink that you can just gulp a lot. You kind of have to savor the flavors, you know?
It's like I think I haven't tried it, but to me you made it sound like it's almost like whiskey, but obviously non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
It's like really strong and you kind of have to just drink it slowly or something.
Yeah.
Or it'll burn you.
I mean, maybe that's why I like it, because it does kind of remind me of like a mixed drink.
Yeah.
But I mean, for those of you who are listening, like any of my church people, I don't drink.
Yeah.
So, so anyway,
sitting your scotch down on the table next to you. I'm just kidding.
wait, no, they'll see.
Yeah. It's okay. I'll
on the
cover it up.
podcast.
Anyways, we're actually going to talk about the songs now.
Glow.
So we talked about the intro before the break, and now we have
Glow.
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 So let's go ahead and talk about Glow. Like,
Yeah, this is.
you can
like,
start this one off because you probably have more to say about the origin of this than me. So.
Yeah, like I said, when I was on WGLT, it's not famous. We talked about this song, and I would kind of, what are you doing? Oh, the neighbors.
So loud.
Yeah, they have grandchildren that come
Yeah.
over like every day.
Yeah, that's
And
okay. It's cute.
Usually they're okay, because they don't do it like when I'm sleeping or anything.
Yeah.
Although it can be annoying when it's in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh, did you give birth to jumping beans or something?
Jumping beans.
But I mean, they're cute kids. I saw them in the hallway.
That's good.
They'll like say bye to me, like
Yeah.
bye.
It's not that. It's really not that bad. I'm just I'm just sensitive since we have a recording.
Mitchell
happening
just
now.
like raised his hands.
I was just like
what
looking
is
at the
wrong?
ceiling.
Guess I'm just used to it.
Anyways, back to Glow.
So when we brought up Glow in the interview, I kind of realized, because I was talking about what it's kind of about, and like what inspired it with like my family and such, and I was like, I don't know if I ever really told my parents that this is what it was
really?
about. So after the interview, I quick texted my mom, and I was like,
Did you
I
know
ever
Glow's
tell
about you?
Yeah. Pretty much. Like, did you know? I don't know if I told you, but Glow is, and I sent her a link of the song because I wasn't sure if she really would have listened to it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, I just want you to know that this song is kind of inspired by, like my struggles with not my struggles.
My struggles with you and your filthy
no,
family.
with like our family, because we've gone through some trials and such, and so that's at the time of writing the song, and so I wrote the song kind of about that, and so I was like, did you know that? Did I ever tell you? She's like, I think you might have mentioned it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And then she actually listened to the song later, and she was like,
She cry?
yeah.
Aw.
She was like, thank you so much. I listened to the song again, and I realized it, and you kind of made me start to cry.
Aw.
I love you.
That's so nice.
Yeah, I love you too.
I remember my dad really loves our songs, and he's always like, Clifford just writes songs that make you want to think about like what they're about, like he really likes your songwriting and your lyrics, because my dad, even though he doesn't play any instruments or anything, he has a really good sense for music and like lyricism and stuff. I feel like he was listening to Infinem and our little like offbeat hit at the end where it's like dun dun, like the little different hits we do at the end. Like he noticed, he was like, I like how you guys do that offbeat hit thing at the end. And I was like, no one ever notices that except you, and it's kind of cool because he's not a musician, but he just like has a good ear for things.
Yeah,
so it's kind of cool. I
love our parents.
Yeah, we have cool parents.
But yeah, so Glow is like I said, it's a very personal song. I mean, it's one of my favorite songs that I've ever written, honestly.
It's definitely one of our
in terms
best.
of like not even just like the quality of it. I mean, the quality the band made it sounds so great, but
Yeah.
I'm very proud of like the lyrics, so I know.
Because I remember you
be ready. This whole podcast is going to be us tooting our own horns.
Yeah,
so
because we're
get
freaking
used to
talented
it.
and cool. So, but I remember you sent me the acoustic demo for it. They just record on your phone. You're like, "What do you think of this? You think this would be a good song?" I was like, "I feel like I think my exact words are. I think this will literally be one of our best songs."
What do I want for me? I want to glow for you to see. I'm getting used to watching sunsets, and I don't want.
I feel like that was my response.
Yeah.
I was like, "This has potential to be one of our better songs," and you're like, "Really cool."
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what people have said, that they're like, this is definitely like the single. you
Yeah,
know?
it
was
definitely it's definitely
I-
a single song.
It was a great idea to have it as the single.
and we even
though we didn't have
remixed
the
it
rest.
a little bit more.
Yeah, Nick Statina made some adjustments after listening to the
So it'll
other
be
songs.
slightly different from the one on Spotify, but probably not many people will notice the differences.
Yeah.
It's like snare hits and like some,
I think some guitar
equalization.
stuff, Yeah.
But yeah, I also really like the connection to What's Eating Gilbert Grape, because it's
Yes.
not like, a What's Eating Gilbert Grape song, but a lot of the quotes and the thematics of
inspired,
it are
right.
like from that. Like I remember I watched
Yeah.
it and I noticed quotes and I was like, "Whoa, it's Glow!" Like there's the house line, and then at the end where she says like, "You don't shimmer, you glow," and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I get it."
So
It was kind of cool. Like watching that movie made me like the song a lot more. So
Well, I'm glad. So,
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know, What's Eating Gilbert Grape was a film made in '96, I think,
Something like
with
that.
Johnny Depp and Leonardo DiCaprio. So very young Johnny
Yeah.
Depp and DiCaprio, and it's one of my top 10 favorite films of all time.
It's really good.
I know it's not like outstanding or anything, but it's just a really nice movie.
Yeah.
And it spoke volumes to me growing up because, no, of course I don't have a mom that weighs 400 pounds
Yeah.
or, and I don't have, I don't have a brother who's on the spectrum or anything.
yeah,
But I kind of could relate to a lot of his frustrations with family. I mean, the character of Gilbert Grape, played by Johnny Depp, goes through a lot of character development, and
Yeah.
he struggles with he's like in a struggle between his own like desires and selfish desires and like what his family needs, because I mean, this isn't really a spoiler or anything because it's all explained in the beginning of the movie.
Uh-huh.
But the family, let's see, is two sisters, two brothers, which I mean that's exactly my family. I never realized.
Nice.
But their father committed suicide,
Mm-hmm.
and so Gilbert Grape and his older sister are kind of they kind of look after the family, especially since their mom became depressed and very overweight, and she can barely move around, and so they kind of look after the whole family, and that's sometimes annoying for Gilbert Grape because like he wants to pursue his own things. He doesn't really care about his family that much, but then throughout the movie he kind of realizes, oh, I mean, yeah, I do love my family and I want to be there for them, and that definitely relates with my struggles in the past, and so this film has meant a lot for me. I have like a little art poster, metal poster of it in my room, and a lot of the aspects, and like you said, it's not a song inspired by What's Eating Gilbert Grape. It's, in that aspect, it's more like a lot of the ideas, and I did steal a few lines, to just kind of pay homage to it. Like,
there's homages and references to it and some quotes and stuff, but it's it's more as like a vehicle to more express your personal relation with the movie,
Yeah.
and expressing what your personal struggles with it, but using the movie thematics as a vehicle for that,
Yeah.
basically. So
Yeah, I think I want to go into like a few of those. Like, the first line of the song is "At the end of the road is where we reside."
Mm-hmm.
The town in which the movie takes place is called Andorra, and there's a little grocery shop that he works at called Andorra of the Road.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a little play on words, and there's the second line is "This house seems so small considering the girth of what's inside." That's basically a line that Gilbert says to his, I guess, girlfriend when he's like, they're like miles away from the house, but he's like showing like, "That's my house," and he's like, "Oh wow, the house seems so small, considering the girth of what's inside." I mean, the actual, title of the song, "Glow," that comes from the line of when his mom, she's like, "You're my knight in shimmering armor."
Did you know that?
I think you mean shining.
No. Shimmer. You shimmer and you glow.
So
Yeah,
there's a
remember when
few
I was
things like
watching the
that.
movie and she said that? I was like, glow, glow. Like, I get it.
Yeah,
And
so-
then there's like lines like, I don't know, I'm getting used to watching sunsets, and there's a scene in the movie when they're watching sunsets together, or
Yeah.
like he drives into the night, like he's driving.
Yeah, there's a lot
scene.
of driving, which
Yeah.
I definitely relate to, because there were
Yeah.
quite a few instances where I would just be so frustrated with things that were going on. I'm like, I gotta get out of the house. I just gotta drive.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of people can relate to that. But
yeah, for sure.
I definitely, sometimes I'm like Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, if you love that song and you haven't watched the movie, you should watch it, because it made me appreciate the song a bit more, and it kind of helps you to. And again, like, it's not a Gilbert Grape song, but it's a song from Clifford's personal like experiences, but he's using the movie as a vehicle to
Yeah.
express that. So
And there are
don't
a
think
lot
of it
of-
that way, rather than like, oh, it's a Gilbert Grape song,
I mean, there are a lot of songs, especially a lot of Mumford & Sons songs, that are like inspired by like different pieces of literature.
Yeah.
Especially in Mumford & Sons' first album, Sigh No More, there's a lot of lines taken from like Shakespeare or like
Yeah.
Aristotle or the Bible. This is kind of, for me, this is kind of like my thing like that,
Yeah.
except it's a movie.
Definitely.
So Glow was the first song we ever recorded with Nick Statina.
Yeah,
I think
and
originally,
Our original, we did record our own version of it, because we were just gonna do
we had
another
a little demo.
Yeah, we were gonna do a DIY, and then I remember we had the conversation. We were like, let's just do a studio. Like, this song,
Chandler,
yeah, he was like, this song deserves like studio treatment, and we were like, yeah,
and he
it
had worked
does.
with Nick Statina before on, I think it was one of his other bands, but most definitely his solo EP
Yeah,
that he did, which you can check out.
it's
on
really good.
Spotify.
Chandler Claps Seasons. It's
Yep.
great.
So he definitely pushed that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think at the time we were really talking about an EP.
Yeah, we were just like, maybe
let's
a
just
single.
record the song.
And then
you
I
know?
think that's after we did that, we were like, we got to come back, and like,
Yeah.
because otherwise we probably would have recorded more like in that session.
Uh-huh.
But I'm kind of glad we waited, because I feel like it gave us time to like, we were all going through a lot, good or bad, just like getting new jobs and houses, and it was busy, and it kind of gave us time to like breathe and reflect on like our work, and then have some more conversation about what we wanted the songs to be like and stuff. So
Yeah.
I wonder how different it would have sounded if we had done it last year, but I feel like it's pretty good timing now that we're all settled and kind of able to just enjoy doing this, rather than trying to balance out like all these transitions we've been going through and stuff and all that. So I think it was good to take a little break and go back to it in a sense.
Right.
But I remember, we made an original demo for Glow, and I actually re-listened to it recently, and it's on our like little private SoundCloud playlist that we made for all the recordings we made at the Red Low.
Oh.
The original Glow recording's
yeah.
on there. It's like Glow with like the 5 W's on it, because I named it that.
I thought that was Matt that did that.
I can't remember. It was like me or him, but Yeah, actually it might have been Matt, but yeah, we recorded a pretty solid demo. Like it actually sounds pretty good for like what it is, but we were just gonna do the demo, and then we were like, no, let's do studio. But we still have our own version of it.
What do I want for me? I want to grow for you to see. I know I gotta change for us to be.
Which this isn't like me hinting that we're going to. I'm literally just thinking out loud, but like maybe it'd be like fun someday to release demos for this EP or something.
Yeah.
Maybe not on Spotify, but just like on our Bandcamp. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be fun to put out a little demo.
I think if
album.
I can, I might try to download those and try to put some clips
Yeah,
on here on this.
we should
episode.
find like every like original demo we've like made that we didn't put out publicly and like see if we can make something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be.
But yeah, planning albums on the podcast live. But yeah, so we did that, and then so that made recording it really easy because we pretty much had
we knew what we wanted.
we pretty much had what we thought was going to be the single done. But then we just decided to do it in the studio instead.
Yeah, I think the original version was a bit longer.
Yeah,
and
we
decided to shorten it.
The intro instrumental with the da-na-na-na, we used to, after the first verse, originally would go back into that.
Like the end of every chorus.
Yeah, I think it was this one. It goes back into it once, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember we were like, we don't go back into it ever again. So I think we wanted to shorten it for the studio. And we also just thought, like, it was weird to only have it in there after that one verse and nowhere else in the song. So we were like, let's just cut it out. So the version
to like change, like have that change in our mind.
It took a while to get used to.
When we were practicing it, we would accidentally go back to that.
There was a lot of shows where I would accidentally start to go back into it, and then it would be like, oops. But now it's like it just works so much better the way it is right now. I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, the song went through. I feel like we kind of knew what we wanted it to sound like right away because you gave me that acoustic demo. We listened to it. We tried playing it, and it started out a lot softer. But I mean, we knew it was going to be a rock song from the start. I feel like so, which was pretty much your vision from the start. So I don't think there was a lot of discussion on what we needed it to sound like. We just were like, all right, let's practice it.
This is going to be a jammer.
Yeah.
Which I think I have some video. I think there's like a clip in Shenanigans of us like playing it all for the first time.
Oh, really? That's cool.
It's really interesting.
It used to be a lot slower. I feel like I feel like I remember seeing a clip and it was like da na 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 like it was like way slower. So
yeah, I mean, which that happens.
Yeah, totally.
But so we had a great experience recording it. Just put a lot of layers on it. We tried some different stuff with like the bridge. Like Chandler did some really cool percussion stuff, and
we got some like bongos or something, and the clapping, which he used a little like digital clap. The very first demo we made of it was like really bad, but I mean it was just a demo. But we used a little electronic keyboard thing, and used like a cruddy mic and stuff, and it's like super lo-fi janky sounding. But I remember he used like digital claps to do like like that part, and I loved that. And then he cut it out and was like, and I remember everyone was like, we won't put those in, and I was like, no, we need to keep the claps in. I loved the claps, and I convinced everyone. I think it was me. I feel like it was me, but I convinced. I
don't remember.
I feel like you were always down for it, but I think Chandler or someone else was originally like had the idea that we weren't going to put it in the song, and I was like, no, I like it. Let's keep it.
Yeah.
I wanna be a good person, a better person. 'Cause I think it's been a while since I cared about you
Everything on this EP was my idea. It's like the second time I've like tried to take credit for an idea. I'm not trying to like take credit for everything, but it's just
you need to
funny.
stand up for yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. It's just fun to hear things like that because then it's like you picture a world where, what if certain things on this song were different, So I kind of like when bands I like talk about production processes. We're like, yeah, we originally weren't going to put this in the song, but then we did, and I was like, oh, I can't imagine that, So I kind of like knowing stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I like to
I
talk
remember
about it.
one conversation we were having in the early stages of writing this song was how like monotone the vocals are in the chorus, because like the chorus is all like up there,
Yeah.
but the vocals are more like no can say. And I remember some people having issue with that. They're like, I don't know if this will work, but in my head I was like, no, we just like layer all the vocals and it'll sound great.
Yeah,
And
with
they're
all the
like,
harmonies
I
and
don't
stuff
know
too.
about that. And
I feel like I remember
it'll
that.
be fine.
Yeah, and it ended up being totally fine. And then at the end, in our original recording, we made the DIY version of Glow. At the end, you go passionately.
Yeah.
And I remember this is actually, I'm glad this was an idea that you guys didn't go with, but I was like, no, let's keep that. It's cool. But then I remember Chandler was like, no, it's super George of the Jungle. And I was like, oh God, you're right, dude. And I'm like, I'm
think it was
so
something-
glad that you guys went with just the long, like, it's like a
Yeah.
long note at the end rather than the
Yeah,
up
it
and
really
down.
works.
It's so much better that way. And
I think it was because
yeah.
it was something that I did live, and some of you guys were like, "Oh no, that was so cool! You should do that."
I think there was one time where you just did it like a couple times, like, like, and I was like, but in the recording, it was like, it was like kind of bad. So I'm glad we didn't go with that. And I was the one who tried to make us keep that. So that's one of my ideas. I'm
So
glad
you're
we
not
didn't go
always
with.
right.
Yeah, no, I have some bad ideas sometimes, but I remember that was really funny when we decided. And I remember you recorded it in the studio originally, and we were like, no.
Yeah.
And we just went with that one. And then I'm still proud of my part at the end.
Oh, yeah,
it's such a high note.
Passionate. Do you even do that live?
No, I would mess it up live. It took me so many. I feel like it took me like 4 tries in the studio to hit that note.
That's not bad.
Yeah, maybe it was only 2. I
It's
feel
not
like I
as bad
remember
as all the takes that I took to do the
Yeah,
outside.
but you also have to sing the whole song, and you're up front, and they can just auto tune me in the background, and no one will notice. but yeah, that was like a really high note for me, and was really painful. But I hear it, and I'm like, man, I'm talented. But I can't do. I'm not doing it live. If I'm feeling good, I will.
Yeah.
But I'll usually back away from the mic a little bit, so I'm like kind of a little farther away. So like if I do bad, people won't notice it that much. But sometimes
just
if
do
I'm
it
feeling
anyway.
brave, yeah,
Part of rock and roll is just doing it, whether it sounds good or not.
it's true.
Dude.
Yeah. Sick. But yeah, that's pretty much
Anyways.
all we have to say for Glow, I guess.
Yeah.
It's probably our best song, technically. I don't know. My favorite.
There's so much
is
to appreciate about all the other songs, though. It's
my
been hard
favorite's
for me.
Infinem, honestly.
Yeah, so let's talk
And
about
that's next.
Infinem.
So Infinem is track number 3.
Track number 3, and we kind of mentioned before.
Let's talk about the original version.
Yeah, this is the oldest song on the EP in terms
It's
of like
it's
when
a
it was written.
re-recording. Like we're pulling a Pine Grove and re-recording a song that's already been recorded.
Yeah.
Technically.
It's really old too, because like I remember
Your little YouTube video of you and Matt just playing it
Yeah.
in your parents' basement.
this was like when I worked at McDonald's.
Oh, it's that old.
Yeah,
Wow,
and
dang.
I had this friend who worked there. He was this like in his 30s. He was like a retired vet, retired cop. who was a janitor
Uh-huh.
at McDonald's, and we loved talking about music. And I remember like recording a little demo for it and sending it to him, and he's like, "Oh man, this sounds so good." So that's how far back this song goes.
Nice.
And we recorded it for our very first EP that we recorded with Sammy Henriksen.
Don't cry, dear heart. It's only rivers of blood that pour from my gut, fed by my tears and drained into the dirt.
I don't know. I mean, for our first EP, we were really like excited about it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, man, this is so awesome! It's our first recording.
I remember you guys sent it to me, and I was listening to all the songs, and I was like, because I'd always wanted to be in a band.
Yeah.
And I was just like hearing a recording of a band I was a part of, and I was like, oh, oh my God.
I'm in this band.
Yeah, I was literally like, even though I'm not in any of the recordings. But,
That's right. You didn't.
Yeah.
You would have been if we used the other 2 songs that we had for the EP.
yeah, but I'm
we
technically
didn't do
not
that.
really much a part of the debut, even though I was in the band at the time. But
Yeah.
but I was still in that band, and I didn't care. Because we had recorded stuff with me originally, but then we like re-recorded. You guys had to re-record stuff with Sammy, and then and that's kind of when all that happened. But
Yeah. So we recorded that song, and I think as time went by, we got a little bored of it. We were kind of realizing, oh, this isn't that
we were like,
great.
it's really sad and boring. I mean, it was a good song, but it had just like it was the same energy the whole song,
Yeah.
and it was like a gothic emo song almost. Like especially the original. It's
mean,
like dun, it's just like really, quiet and somber and reverby and
Yeah.
And
The thing is like with this song, it was kind of the case with the whole EP, where like we had something specific in mind, and there was kind of conflict with the producer, which not saying anything bad about Sammy. It's just on my part, I was a little bit easygoing, where I was like, oh, okay, let's do
you
that.
didn't want to say like no to anything because you're like he's
Right.
So
So Infinim
it was like
didn't
our
turn
first
out-
time recording anything really. So I mean,
Yeah, and that's the thing with Sammy, is that he's very creative, and
Yeah.
he had a lot of ideas. So, but with me,
I still like how Learn to Let Go sounds for
Yeah.
the most part.
yeah. I mean, Sammy actually influenced a lot of like what we do.
It's
on that, on
like
that
I liked
song.
his ideas on that a lot. So.
Yeah, like the whole like halftime breakdown there.
Yeah.
That was his idea.
And that's
the
like
gang
pivotal
vocals
to
at
that
the
song
end.
at this point.
Yeah, the gang vocals at the end was his idea. But anyways, so Infinem didn't turn out exactly what I even had envisioned at that time.
Yeah.
So, but we played it live, and we kind of just like forgot about it. Like we stopped playing it
Yeah.
as much, because I remember when I brought it up.
It was
years
just one of those
later,
like we were like
some of us were like, wait, what this song, what?
Yeah.
I was inspired to revamp the song because I'd been listening to a lot of Bear's Den, and with their album Red Earth in the Pouring Rain,
Good album.
they combine a lot of like folk aspects with like this 80s kind of new wave vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Which
oh,
is
this
like a,
great.
you can say is like a cliche trope right now, but I feel like they did it in a way that didn't feel tropey.
Right.
Because a lot of people are only doing it just because, like, hey, remember the 80s, man? But,
Yeah,
like, this
it's
is just like an appreciation for that kind of style
it's
without
like
being on the
mainstream to
nose.
like the 80s.
Yeah, it's not on the nose, I would say. It's,
Right.
like, done good.
Yeah, so I think there was a couple songs where I was like, this sounds like this kind of sounds like Infinem.
Yeah.
Like this, we could do this same thing with Infinem. And so I recorded my own little demo on GarageBand on
And
my
it's actually
phone.
on SoundCloud still.
Yeah.
It has like 150 plays for it has like a 200 plays maybe.
Probably
Like
mostly
people
from
kept
us.
listening to it. People found it and were like listening to it. But it's just like a thing you made on GarageBand for iPhone.
Yeah.
You were the very best of me. I'm sorry, love, but can't you see? I have to give up.
And I mean, it's kind of, a little bit low energy.
Yeah.
But it was basically, I just wanted to get the basic idea of what I had in mind for it. And I showed everyone, I was like, guys, we should do something like this with this, and we did it, and ever since then, Infinem has been like a mainstay song in like
Yeah.
all of our sets.
Yeah, it's
you
like
know?
it's easily one of our best songs.
Yeah.
And I remember that original demo because I'm usually like the test the waters person. Like you usually send something to me first, I feel like, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
I don't know, or like, yeah. So I remember you sent me that GarageBand demo, and I was like, I really like this direction, and I remember, yeah, and then you were like, okay, cool, because we're gonna try and like see how we can make this sound, and try it as a full band and stuff. And I feel like we weren't like super like sure about it at first, but that song that was
we were down though.
we were totally down, but it was definitely a process of getting it to where it is now.
Yeah, because I think at the time, I think what we were, I guess, trying to undertake is a very like technical poppy song.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit out of our comfort zone because we were just some DIY indie rock band.
So we're usually doing like folk or folk rock and stuff, and this is and like Glow is still like rock, but it's still kind of similar to like bands we like, and still has like that kind of similar energy, and it's not super out of the ordinary. But this was like, it's not an experimental song, you know, like not to sound pretentious, but it was experimental for us kind of because we were stretching out and wanting to try something different, you know, because we thought it could go somewhere really cool, and I think it really evolved, especially when we got in the studio and started making demos. Like Trenton's bass line is like that's probably my favorite part for me, honestly.
Yeah,
like he
because
killed
originally it was just going to be like just the one chord throughout the whole intro. But then he wrote that bass line that basically became like the foundation of the whole song.
Turn my head, turn my face from the death that smiles in me. My life drains out along with all my
and then the drums with it, that very like just kind of like very driving, like, and I remember the synth intro came because we were just messing around trying to mimic the Stranger Things intro. Stranger Things. I
don't think
themes.
we were doing that intentionally.
Not literally. We weren't literally trying to copy Stranger Things, but I remember we were making it. We were like, oh, it sounds like that. We tried to find like, and then that made us want to find like that similar kind of like synth sound. Not trying to sound like it, but just like in that field of like that's the kind of synth.
Sort of like arpeggiated. Kind
just
of
the
sound.
arpeggiated thing. And people will inevitably think that when they hear it. Like my sister heard it, and she was like, Stranger Things, you know. So, but I mean, we're definitely, it made us think of that, but it wasn't like the inspiration really.
Right. And Stranger Things, they're technically copying like a sound from the 80s.
Yeah, it's like
so
so exactly.
You can't say that they thought of it first.
Yeah, exactly. Like arpeggiated synth is not a Stranger Thing exclusive.
Right.
But yeah, that song went through a huge evolution from like an acoustic somber song to a dance poppy synth rock tune.
Yeah, I mean the lyrics are still very somber,
yeah,
which I don't think I've gone into that yet.
Yeah,
but it was basically a story that I wrote because sometimes I do that with songwriting. I'll just write a story that has nothing to do with me,
which I like that too.
Which is about a warrior or soldier, I guess you could say, in like the Middle Ages is kind of the picture that I like to have.
Yeah.
Who's like off at war and he's been like slain in battle. And basically the whole song is him giving like a monologue as he's dying in his head, I guess.
Yeah.
And just kind of mourning the fact that he won't see his love, who is all the way back at home, most likely his wife. I like to think that it's his wife.
Yeah.
And, but in the end, you know, because like through the first two halves of the song, he's like, oh, I'm dying, you know?
Yeah.
But in the end, he's, in the end. That's actually what infinem means in Latin, is in the end. But in the end, he's like, oh, wait, I have, because he's a religious man. He has faith in God. He believes in heaven. So he's like, oh wait, I will see her again. You know?
And my dad noticed that lyric change for the first time recently.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I wish I'd seen your eyes, and then at the end it's, I know I'll see your eyes.
Yeah.
And it's just like a subtle change, but my dad like noticed that for the first time recently. He was like, that's so clever.
You
So
guys
like,
didn't notice that for the longest time.
I didn't either for a
actually.
while, honestly, but
Pay
it's
attention
when I
to
had
those
to start doing
songs.
harmonies for it is when I noticed it. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, it's just I think it's a really cool story with a lot of neat imagery. And,
Yeah.
it's really cool, and it's lyrically and like sonically, I think my favorite song on the EP.
Yeah, and like I said, the lyrics are still somber in a way.
Yeah.
But we kind of, I don't know what you call that. I guess it's like musical irony.
Yeah.
Where the lyrics are kind of sad or whatever, but the music is kind of bumping. You know? Kind of like
it's like a guy's. It's literally a song about a guy dying and being sad he's not going to see his wife again,
like
and it's
Pumped
like
Up
bump
Kicks.
bump ba da
Yeah.
da. Like, but I kind of like that. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And there's a
think
way
it
to
really
do
carries
that.
it.
There's a way for that to like not be appropriate, but I think for something like this, I think it works. You know? So, I mean, if we were singing about some like really serious, dark topic that needs to be taken seriously, but it's just like a fictional story about a guy and his wife and like middle-aged warrior, it's not something that's like insensitive, so the sound of it being like that, I think works. And I think it's really cool. And I really, really, really love the sound, the way it ended up sounding. And the bass, like the dirty, gross bass tone we used, and Matt's guitar
gross.
solo. And it's just very ambient and has such an energy and an atmosphere to it, and I enjoyed the harmonies that I got to do for it.
Great.
Yeah.
Which
Actually, no.
Chandler and
Technically,
Matt did some
they got to
too.
do some there, and the ending harmonies for me, although you'd really have to listen to them to hear them in the end. But we wanted you to stick out more in the end, so I'm glad we went
in the end.
But I'm glad it wasn't. I didn't want to be like overshadowing you, so I'm glad we took the mix of my harmonies on the last verse down a bit. But the high notes, if you really listen, you can see how high I'm singing. That was probably actually the hardest take I had to do.
Oh yeah,
was getting that really high note. See your eyes. It was like so high for me. It hurt, and it took me like 5 tries, and it probably sounded bad, but
we got it.
We made it work. But that we actually recorded on our own and sent that to our producer to put it in, because I didn't record that in the studio.
Well, yeah, because we had limited time, because we recorded 2 songs, Sarcasms and Infinem, in
we
just
had
2 days.
We had 2 10-hour sessions pretty much.
Yeah,
I feel like so.
And so there were some things that we weren't able to get to.
Yeah,
we got the basics of like most of everything. Of those songs done, but there's like a few extra.
There's some like vocal,
layers.
like extra little things to put in, which it wouldn't have been like drastically different without them, but they were just that little extra layer. We're like, yeah, we need to have this in there.
Yeah.
So.
But one of my favorite things about Infinem, actually, it's so subtle, but it works so well, is the acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
good. I'm glad.
Yeah,
because that's me.
That's kind of what I had envisioned in the first place, and I remember us like actually having some good hard discussion about it, because it seemed that everyone was a little unsure about like how acoustic guitar could sound in it, and I was always advocating for like, no, we need it but like eighth notes, like acoustic, and trust me, it'll sound good.
I went through, because I was trying to think of an appropriate strumming pattern for it, and Chandler kind of helped me a bit with that too, because at first I would just come in right on the first verse, like da 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 da, just like a standard kind of strumming pattern, like down 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 up down up down down up down whatever. But after a while, it was like, no, let's like you'll come in after the first chorus, and then I was like, maybe I'll just do like down strums, like da da da, like how it originally was. And then I was like, no, I'll go a little more upbeat. And then we thought it was a little too upbeat and didn't match the vibe, but I kind of found like a halfway point where it was like da 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 da, and I found it was a very particular strumming pattern, and it went through a lot of changes, because and I really like when it comes in the song. It's subtle and you kind of have to listen for it, but I think it's like mixed to the right a little bit. But I think it complements and it gives a little extra boost to that second verse. And
Most definitely.
yeah, I liked that touch a lot.
Don't cry, dear heart. It's only rivers of blood that pour from my gut. Fed by
Because it almost acts as like a hi-hat, because
Yeah,
you know,
it's because that was my intention. Was I was matching up the strumming patterns to be really precise with what drum beat was going on.
Yeah.
That's actually how when I do acoustic guitar, that's how I play. I'm playing with the drums basically when I play guitar. So like during shows, whenever Chandler does drum fills, I'll try to like strum in a similar way, or I'm always trying to like do hard hits at the same time as the snare.
Yeah.
So I'll be like doing like da 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 da. I treat
Right, yeah.
an acoustic guitar like a percussion instrument.
which basically is in like the rhythm section.
Yeah, essentially. So, because you're not really hearing the chords that much, you're more so just hearing like the rhythm of like the strings with an acoustic guitar almost. You don't hear the notes as much, but yeah, I just wanted it to be like a percussion instrument, and I matched it up with the drums, and I think everyone ended up really liking the touch of that. So
Yeah,
that was a little fun artistic process for me, was to figure that out, because
figuring
it
out
went
the
through a
strumming
lot
of
of
the
like,
guitar.
no, don't do that, like, it took us a
Yeah.
while to figure out how to make that sound good, but I think the end result was really good.
Yeah.
I especially like doing it live, because I don't play guitar for the couple verses, so it starts out like, for me live it's a little boring at first, but I like when I come in, I'm like, yeah, this feels good. So
Right. Yeah. Well, it sounds good.
yeah.
And also shout out to the drums. Shout out to
Yes.
the drum fill. I mean, the drums sound great throughout the whole song, throughout the whole EP. But,
Yeah.
just
No
a little
shock.
shout out to the fill at the end.
Little Phil Collins.
Oh yeah.
Phil Collins.
Pun
But yeah,
unintended.
we did the In the Air Tonight, which actually live we start by singing the intro to In the Air Tonight sometimes before
Sometimes,
this song.
yeah. Just,
Not all the
Yeah,
time, but
yeah.
sometimes, we'll start
Depending
it out
on how
because
we
it's kind of in
feel.
the same key, sort of.
yeah.
So it
well,
works
no,
really
not
well.
not originally.
Well, not
I
originally,
kind of
no.
transpose it to,
Gotcha.
to that
But
key.
it works really well.
Yeah, Chandler does a little fill. Phil,
Yeah.
that's very Phil Collins inspired. It's not exactly like it, because In the Air Tonight, the famous drum fill is more of like
Yeah.
on the toms, where it's like bo 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 bo.
Yeah,
bo,
but he
bo.
goes like, he starts
It's like
on
on
the snare.
It's like
It's the same rhythm. Yeah.
Don't give up on me.
Yeah, he does it rhythmically the same, and people like aren't gonna hear. I feel like people will hear that and not really be like, "Oh, that's a Phil Collins." But I feel like if you point it out to people and then they hear that, they'll be like, "Oh, okay." But
Yeah.
like that was our intention, was to reference that a bit.
Yeah,
And we
to
had
go along with, like, the
toms
80s
we
feel.
we had toms that were a little more prevalent, but I think we mixed it down because they were a little too corny. But we actually did have
Yeah.
like a quad tom thing, whatever they're called.
Rototoms.
Rototom, yeah.
Yeah.
God, I couldn't remember what they were called. I was thinking of the quad drums, like in a marching band.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we actually used some of those on the recording for that part. So.
Yeah, which they kind of peek out in the mix.
Yeah, they were a little too
few
tinny,
times.
so I think we mixed them down a lot. So they're not super prevalent, but it's just a little extra layer to it. But
Yeah, so
yeah, that song went
that's-
through quite a journey, and I freaking love how it turned out. And
Yeah, I'm
it's
very
it's my
happy with
favorite
it.
recording of ours right now, I would say.
I like how we can take a song that is like so old, and yet now it just seems so fresh.
Yeah,
Right now.
that's kind of a theme for us lately. Like we're
Yeah.
taking a lot of old songs and kind of revamping them into something a lot better.
Yeah, which I think we'll kind of continue to do, because like,
Yeah.
we have our older recordings where we're like, oh, this could be better.
Yeah,
so let's do
like definitely
this.
for sure. Even with some stuff on No Retreat, I think we could redo.
Yeah, I'm
Like
just
Micah's
such a-
song deserves a really good recording.
It
You know?
does.
So
I'm
I'm
just
sure
such
someday
a
we'll
good
redo that.
Songwriter.
Yeah, yeah, you
My
are.
songs are timeless.
God.
Anyways,
Next song.
Next song is Worn.
Yeah.
So I can say
Which
that,
some people may see this as the obligatory acoustic song on the EP, but I still really like it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers to this
kind of the
recording that
ballad
I
of
love
the
listening to.
EP.
Yeah.
But I remember, we were talking earlier about Glow and like the first single. I mean, about the first demo
Yeah.
that we recorded. I remember at the time I was visiting some friends in Nebraska, and I was staying. I hope you can't hear the vacuum.
Vacuuming right
upstairs.
now.
So, I was visiting my friends in Nebraska, and you guys had sent over the demo for Glow that you had like just finished. And I remember at the time,
The DIY one?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I remember at the time, all my friends were gone doing church things, and I just kind of stayed behind. And so I remember like having my headphones and listening to it on my phone,
Yeah.
and like jamming out to it because I was so proud of it.
Yeah.
But at that same trip, like the next day, I was alone again in the apartment. Because I didn't bring my car. They picked me up from the train station, so I didn't have anywhere to go. So I had someone's acoustic guitar, and I just started writing this song, Worn. I was kind of inspired by some like Bob Dylan music and such. And yeah, basically the song is about not really having everything figured out.
Yeah.
And how that's okay. I kind of used the metaphor of writing a song to and use that as a metaphor for life.
Yeah.
Kind of like figuring life out. So that's why the chorus is like, it's kind of like gibberish. It's like, hi. It's almost like humming.
Yeah.
Or la-laing,
Yeah, it's just like a vocal
I don't have
melody.
any words for this part. I'm still writing the song.
I'm still trying to work out the rest. I've been trying to work out the rest.
Which I wonder if maybe I should just finish the song. Like, I finished it.
Yeah. One day we released it. It's like, hey, we finished it finally.
Yeah. So, like, the verses are all about, like, yeah, I'm just kind of going through life, going through all these, stressful situations in life and still trying to make answers of everything, but I'm not quite there. But that's okay, and there's a lot of talk about, God and him being there alongside me.
Yeah.
When the song is like addressing someone, it's basically God.
Yeah.
Like you say, hey, this ride's not all that bad. That's basically kind of like God having some sense of humor in my life. But yeah, and I remember we didn't really have a title for the longest time.
Yeah, what was it? It was called
something like Unfinished.
Yeah, I think it was literally called Unfinished at first.
And then you guys didn't like that. So
Yeah.
Cedric was actually the one who gave us the idea for the song.
Yeah.
Because I sent him the lyrics, and I'm like, what should the song be called? And he said, Worn. So we went with that.
Nice.
So hope you like that.
Yeah, it's sort of like folky acoustic tune. There's not like a whole drum kit. This is the one we recorded ourselves, actually. So this one actually is technically a DIY one, but we had our producer still mix it a little bit so it still fit with the other one. And
he mastered it.
It originally didn't have a lot of the synth stuff in it, but I remember we kind of had this discussion of, is it tonal whiplash to go from really loud synth rock bop tune to a more calm acoustic folk tune?
And you tease me, you joke with me, you say, hey, this ride's not all that bad. It don't take much more to convince me, as I mourn the loves I wish I could have, and I sing, hi-ya, hi-ya. I'm still trying
And we were like,
to
well, it's
work
only like
out the
4
rest.
songs, like we can't just make another song to put in between it. So we kind of had this idea to add some, which I actually really like the synth in it now, but we have a synth intro, and it's not really like throughout the whole song, but it comes in and out. But
like builds up into it.
we had like a swell, kind of like the intro track, but a little different, a little more calm, but we have it so there's like a little synth swell that goes into the song. So I feel like that made the EP flow a lot better having that. And even adding the mandolin, Trent added his mandolin lines, which I love the mandolin transitions. There's like two, there's only like two mandolin transitions, but it's just really, it like fits the vibe perfectly.
And all the percussion and such.
Yeah. I love the background. Like it's very like roomy and spacey and a little like just kind of bongo-y kind of thing. I love that kind of vibe, and especially later when I just like the hits that Chandler used, and I think it just sounds really like fun and nice and cozy kind of.
Yeah,
so.
I remember at first with this song, me being all like, we're not gonna like overdo this song. It's gonna be like a stripped down acoustic song.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna add anything to it. Which I mean, I didn't really have to be so like firm about it. Everyone was pretty much okay with that.
Yeah, but
then
I mean,
when we had the discussion, which
it's good to have
like
moments,
how it is now.
Yeah, it's good to have moments like that though, because without having some kind of like differing opinion on a song, like it won't evolve. So like when people have different ideas, that kind of helps us to like evolve it into a sound that we all end up liking and appreciating, or at least like giving something a chance that maybe we're not sure of. And I do remember there was a lot of like back and forth of what do we want this to be like? Is it going to be well? Should we? I remember we were going to cut it completely at one point, but then we were like, but then it'll only be 3 songs, and that's like basically some people release 3 songs as a single, and we're like, I don't know, let's just put it in. We like finally kind of just added a bit more, added the mandolin, added the synth stuff, and there's still like moments of it being really stripped down, like especially the last part.
It still has that like vibe.
Yeah, and I like kind of during the last chorus or whatever, where it's a lot more quiet. I like the touch that Trenton did, just the really light mandolin plucks there that are like really quiet. It's like really subtle. There's little moments in the song, and it's kind of rough around the edges and stuff, but we intentionally wanted
it's kind of intentional.
Yeah,
it's
we
that,
wanted
like,
it to feel like
that
loosey-goosey.
Kind of, loosey-goosey.
Yeah,
we didn't even use a metronome or anything.
Yeah, we just recorded it live. It's technically, it's partially a live recording. Some of the instruments are recorded at the same time together live.
Yeah, because the first take that we did was in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Where we had like all the doors open. I don't know if that added to it, but we just wanted that,
we wanted
open
to be
space kind of roomy feel to it, and we kind of built on from that.
Yeah. And
we didn't use any metronomes or anything. We just kind of went off the original tempo that we had with that original take.
Yeah, and then I remember we had the discussion about the I part and how we wanted it to feel more like melodic rather than sounding like someone going like I. So that's kind of when we added all those harmony, which I feel like 90% of that part is me.
Oh yeah,
which is really funny because usually I'm not like the lead, but I'm like that part. I'm like, that's all me. Especially the false. I forgot I did those falsettos.
Well, we all did those.
Yeah,
because I did a lot of those.
And like, it was just funny to like hear myself trying to sing that high because I usually suck at that. But it took us a while to record that.
Well, see, I do too. I never really liked it when I did it live by myself.
Yeah.
But when you like build on it.
Yeah, my harmony with it makes it. I like doing the harmonies on that song a lot. It's fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very pretty, like Fleet Foxy with like the reverb and all the harmonies on top of each other and stuff, and there's like some sloppiness to it, but we weren't trying to make it. And this isn't me like defending like, oh, we were just lazy, let's tell them it was intentional. It's really, I promise it's not that.
Right.
It was legitimate, like we want it to sound like live.
It's
like,
not that we're lazy, we're just pretentious.
Yeah, we're just authentic, man. I mean if we were really like that, then we wouldn't have a super polished song like Infinem and Glow and stuff.
Right, yeah.
So I mean,
which is so interesting. There is such a contrast with the songs.
But like when I listen to the EP, and maybe I'm biased, but like I'm listening to it in order, and I'm like, I really don't feel weird about the transition of sound on this EP at all. I feel like it really does work, and maybe it's because I'm used to it at this point, but I feel like it just works really well, and I think I'm glad that we kept Warren on it, because I remember for a while we were almost cut it, and you didn't want to. I didn't want to either, so I'm glad we kind of like made something work for that. But
Yeah.
I like it. It's definitely like the acoustic song of the EP. You know, every album EP, you know, has to have that acoustic song, but this one I feel like fit the spot it is in the EP, especially. Like, you know, we have rock song, bop song, and then you know, we chill out a bit, and then the next song starts off pretty chill and slow too, but builds back up. So I think it's a really nice like flow of energy from like high up going down a bit and then back up by the end, you know. So
yeah, definitely.
I like this song a lot. It's just a nice feel good tune with some nice lyrics and like symbolism and stuff, and I like it. It's there wasn't a ton to the production. Like, it's pretty simplistic on a surface level, but I like it. It's very classic. It's very classic Sherwood Forest, you know.
Yeah,
It's very it's old school Sherwood Forest, but with some of the new flair added into it.
Right.
Know?
Yeah.
So.
Which I don't know. I'm just kind of talking out loud. Thinking out loud. That's what the saying is. I'm not sure if I'll ever really write like such a very blatant folk song again. I don't know.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that. I was like, is this like our last like true folky
because we
song?
are kind of making that transition, which is why I think I mentioned earlier that I think like whatever we make next will be a little bit more cohesive.
Yeah,
I think, because I think we have a better idea of what our sound is.
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't
It's
know.
It's like the end of an era almost. It's almost like a celebration of like all the sounds we went through, I feel like.
Yeah.
And we didn't intend it to really be that way, but I really do think that this EP celebrates, I mean, not in order of the songs, of course, but it kind of celebrates our evolution as a band together in a way.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I like it so much, is because it has a little bit of everything that we've gone through together.
Right.
You know, in terms
Which is
of our
funny
sound
that
and style. Even literally going from DIY to super polished, like, studio song. Like, it really is, like, our journey as a band in a few songs.
Yeah.
So
it's funny that you say that, because I'm working on, well, it's basically already done, but the music video for this, for Warren.
yeah, I like that. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, so
it's simple, but it's like I mean, I won't spoil it, but it is just kind of like a little visual.
I mean, we can say
it'll be out by now.
It's
so
well,
probably
I might wait a few days after the release.
Yeah.
But what it'll just be kind of a montage of all of our footage from all of our videos.
Yeah.
Like, basically all the way from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like it's in chronological order too.
Yes, all the way to now. So I mean, it's simple. It's literally like one of the laziest music videos you can make. But
we could call it an unofficial music video, you know, if we wanted to.
But also official.
Yeah, it's like, which is appropriate for this song, because this song, it's not like the intense like full band like studio recorded song, you know, so it kind of like matches to have a video for it that's also kind of just homemade, but still reflects like importance in some way, you know. So
Wow, I didn't. Sometimes, like, for this song, is just kind of like, oh, whatever, it's the acoustic song, but I kind of forget how
like, and maybe like
how
in
special it is.
Who knows? Maybe like next year we'll look back and be like, wow, Warren sucks. Like, we should have, like how we do with Micah's song now. But I mean, I think we're experiencing.
Even with Micah's song, I was like, I don't know about this. Should we release?
Although we were also inexperienced then. I think we're experienced enough now. I genuinely still think Warren is good, and it's definitely like, you know, gonna be seen as the lesser song or just the acoustic song.
It's kind of like a B-side, sort of.
Yeah, but I mean, we just wanted to include it on there because, you know, that was part of our song list at the time, and you know, we just wanted 5 songs on it. So, but not to say that, like, you know, we think poorly of Warren or anything, but it definitely is like classic Sherwood. It's not necessarily reflective of our sound now, but I thought it was kind of cool to still include it. And like I said earlier, even though this wasn't the intention, I think it was really awesome to be able to like have a representation of our evolution in like one EP together.
Yeah.
And then who knows what our next one is going to be like. But, you know, I thought I'm glad we included it, and I still really like it, and I think people will like it too. Who knows? Maybe it'll be it's going to be some people's favorite probably, so who knows? But
that's true. We do have
every song is always
someone's
someone's favorite. People loved some people loved Micah's song, the recording, and I'm like, okay.
Weirdo.
I mean, I love that song, but the recording is not good at
Can you
all.
imagine? Like we're a band
They
and like
played
someone
on-
says
yeah.
like, this is my favorite song from you, and like it's our song, and
You're
we're
just like, ew, God. I mean, it'd be like if you met
have terrible
Radiohead and
taste
you're
in
like, hey guys,
music.
I love Creep, and they're just like, okay, thanks, guy.
I'm still trying to work out the rest. I've been trying to work out the rest.
Anyways, so
Now the
that's
grand
Warren.
finale.
The good. I mean, yeah, basically is the grand finale of the EP. Sarcasms. I write down all the words that you say. Such an interesting song.
Yeah, this one, our first live performance of this is so freaking bad.
Really?
I like hate watching that video.
I haven't watched it in a
I
while.
did
The
a
one that
really
Nick made that posted.
I did so bad.
Oh.
Everything I played wrong notes. I sang awfully. It was bad, dude.
Well, we had,
but
a
it was
weird,
like that's
it was
a
weird
kind of
mix.
it's a complex song too. Like, I mean, I know the chord progression is technically the same, but there's a really, and I don't know if that was intentional, but it's actually really smart. Technically, it's like really musically smart in the end because, yeah, it's intentional. Whatever you're gonna say,
very smart.
But like the chord progression's the same, but like it's almost like at first, you know, it's like you start on the A and then the G and the D, you know,
Yeah.
but then by the end it's the same chord progression except you're starting on the D except for the A, but it's still that same progression, but the
Yeah.
big hit is on a different chord. So that was like, I think why I was
with like the cutout. and
yeah,
such.
so that's why it was confusing for us at first, I think, because we all kept wanting to hit A at the end because it was still the
Well, that's the case with a lot of cutouts.
Yeah.
I've noticed in like being in.
But it's
music
like
for
it's
so long.
smart
Your
because
mind is like you want to play that first chord that you're supposed to, but you're you're not.
but it's
supposed
on
to.
a different like hit, so you should be playing that. But we're used to
Yeah.
hitting this chord first instead of that one. So I think that was why we messed up so much at first. But it's like it's smart like songwriting technically.
Thank you.
But it's
totally
cool.
my intention.
It's definitely like a hard song to do live though, because it's like huge at the end.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I mean this song is just like songwriting wise. Sometimes I just whenever I think about that song, I'm like, why did I write this?
Yeah.
like when I think about
It's
the
a really
subject matter,
specific subject matter, but I think that's what's cool about it is I've never heard a song about, you know, this.
Yeah, and it's
sarcasm,
and
literally.
it's weird because like sometimes I'm like, I don't know, am I being too over dramatic with this? But I mean, so I'll explain the the heart behind the song.
Uh-huh.
So I've always had issues with like the way that I communicate with people, especially with people that I care about. I think this was definitely inspired by like a little kind of like love interest that I was going through at the time.
Yeah.
And I've found myself so frustrated in how I communicate because I'm sure a lot of you can relate. They're like, oh, sarcasm is like my second language. You know? It definitely is for me, but it's become a sort of
like a defense mechanism. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm not sure what for because it usually comes in when I feel most affection towards people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's like my emotions are like oh, don't be so soft, you know.
Yeah.
Don't be so vulnerable.
It's almost like you could compare it to being, not to say it, this is a little kid thing, but like it's like when you're a kid and a boy likes a girl, it's like I'm gonna throw rocks at her to show her that I like her. And when you're older, it's like, yeah, well, I can't, talk to this girl I like, so I'm just gonna be really, really like stupid and just try to always be funny and sarcastic, and you don't really act like yourself,
Yeah.
So they'll be like, "Hey, how's it going?" It's like, better if you weren't here, like
I hate you.
like you just it's like you just like try too hard to like be a certain way, or you're like sarcastic because you're trying really hard not to like be obvious about how you really feel around a certain person.
Yeah,
kind of like
it's definitely something that I struggled with, and like it can be the same around you guys too, like members of the band, and there are nights where like we'll be hanging out, or I'll just be hanging out with anyone.
Yeah.
And then I'll be heading home, and I'll be like, "Why am I such an idiot?"
I have moments like that too. Like, you're done hanging out and you go home, and you drive home. Like, I actually had this recently.
Really?
Where I was like, with some like old friends from high school when I left. I was like, I was probably really way too hyper. I was like, they probably thought it was annoying, and you just like think about that.
Well, maybe not just annoying, but like why? But I'd be like, why was I so sarcastic? Like, why?
Yeah.
Because there's something in me. This is why this is such a huge struggle for me.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very deep philosophical segment of the podcast.
Good.
Where there's something in me that does want, genuine and authentic conversation, and to be like, forthcoming about like how we feel, and like I'll be like, why don't my friends ever do that? And then I'll be like, oh wait, it's because I'm sarcastic. And of course they're gonna be sarcastic with me. I remember one of my friends, Steven Bonds, he once called me out on it. It was like, why don't you like it when we're sarcastic with you, when you're sarcastic with us all the time? I'm like,
it's like, dang it.
'Cause nothing's like the truth from your mouth. I'm just trying to be real. And nothing's like the feel of the hair on your skin. I don't know why I'm running away.
yeah. So that's kind of what this whole song is about, is that struggle between being frustrated with myself that I can never seem to be genuine when I'm trying to show to the people that I care about that I care about them, but then I want them to be genuine with me, but I know that they're only doing that because that's how I've been communicating with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's basically... It seems like something
It's
trivial.
really specific, but I feel like more people can relate to that than you think.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone, because not even with just maybe specifically sarcasm, but any other kind of like behavioral like defense mechanism or behavioral habits, good or bad. Like a lot of people, for example, it's like you always want to try and be funny. You want to be the funny one in the group, So everything I say is going to be a joke or sarcastic or some kind of like retaliation or like dogging on this guy, or it's rare, and then you leave and it's like we didn't talk about one serious thing all night, or it's like all we did all night was
a waste of time.
Yeah, all we did was joke about stupid things and laugh, and like that's fun, and you can have nights like that, and that's totally fine. But there does come a point where you realize it's like, wow, I can't remember the last time I sat down with my friends and had like a real conversation.
Yeah, because like it can so easily become like default.
Yeah,
and
this is human nature, we like to be funny or do this because we like to see people laugh and respond to us in strong ways, and if we behave strongly we get strong reactions, and we like that if it's good, right? When you have serious conversations, it's pretty, you're not getting strong visual audio reactions from people, so you as a human are like, oh, I need to be funny and laugh and bring up the energy, and a lot of people, I think, I feel like almost everyone at least can relate to that to some extent. Yeah. Even if it's something you don't do, but I think we've all been there in some way. Yeah. And, that's kind of what the song's about. And that it's with a specific thing for you, but I think people can connect maybe some other kind of personal thing to that and maybe substitute sarcasm for something else that maybe they deal with.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I did have a couple people that when they heard the song, they're like, oh man, this is so relatable.
You made
I'm like,
someone
"Thank
cry."
you." Yeah, I did.
So it's
It's
especially.
like, wow, weirdo.
I remember my mom was listening to it, and when it gets to the part where you're like, "Don't tell me that you hate me unless you really mean it," and my mom did like the like thing, like, "Oh, that's deep."
Oh,
She made the
really?
"that's deep" sound, like when
Yay.
like a mom or like someone is. I love you, mom. But like your mom or someone's watching a movie and something really serious, or they're watching a show. Yeah, it's just like, oh god. Like that. Like my mom reacted to that line that way.
I love it. Yeah, like out of context, that is such a weird line.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell
But
me
it's
that
like
you hate
you
me.
do.
Like, why would you want someone to tell you that they hate you? Like, that's not really the point. It's more like, tell me what you're really thinking, what you're really feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we do it all the time. Where
yeah,
like,
it's like,
I
I'm gonna
hate
kill you.
Yeah, I hate you. It's like, you don't say that. Tell me what you really think. Tell me that you love me. Well, that's what it's really saying. Like, tell me that you love me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really looking for, and that's.
Because nothing's like the truth from your mouth.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to be real.
Yeah, and you mentioned that early. I think you kind of touched on that earlier, because I am definitely an affirmation type of person.
Yeah.
Where like I don't think that I'm doing good until someone tells me that I'm doing good. And that encourages me. And so when I'm like that's me wanting that genuine interaction.
Yeah, and that's
like,
why I always tell you that your songs are really good. Because I know that you like
Thanks. But then you tell me that you'll kill me.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe I need to write a song reflecting on my behavior. Don't tell me that you'll kill me unless you'll really do
That'll
it.
Be our alternate version.
Nothing's like the knife in your gut. That's dark. Gosh. Anyways.
So I took all that and I wrote a whole song about it.
Nice.
And I guess with talking about the music and the feel of the song, I was very inspired by I guess I could point to the National and
I remember someone at a show heard that song, and afterwards she came up. It was at the Red Loam. I remember you and me were upstairs, and this woman, she came up to us and she was like, "You guys like that song? You guys have a very national songwriting vibe to you."
I was like, "Yeah."
Were you there with? I think you were there with me. But yeah, we got compared to. I don't know if sound wise, but she said our songwriting was very. At least for that song, she compared it to the National.
Yeah.
In terms of the songwriting style, which I thought was kind of cool because I know that you really like them. So
it's a very kind of like a bar kind of song, bar ballad. Like I think of like Billy Joel, some of his songs like Piano Man or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the feel that I was going for. Just kind of like that sad song that like the pianist would play and like everyone would crowd around and sing.
Yeah, it starts out with that good old piano. Which have we had a song start with like a? We've had like piano sounds in our songs, but I don't know if we've had like a full on just like normal grand piano sound in a song like that.
I mean, Tin Can has some piano in it.
Yeah, but just as like as the piano being like the focal point. Like I don't think we've done that yet.
No,
which is surprising because you do piano a lot. So
yeah. Well, I mean. Learning to Let Go has some pretty prevalent piano.
That's true.
In it. But I'd say that this is one song where it's like
you could actually call it like a piano ballad at first, at least. But yeah, the sound of this song is definitely like it just goes up a step at a time. Well, it goes up and then it goes back down and then it goes up again and then it explodes.
Yeah.
And yeah, this song structure wise is like probably our most technical, and there's a lot of moments, like especially when it's really loud at the end and everything cuts out and it's just vocals, like the hits where it's like da 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 da, and we cut out. Like we didn't have that originally, and I noticed that the songs on this album, with the exception of Warren, we like our really specific technical hits. Like with Glow, we have like our offbeat hits at the end with the last chorus, and then Infinitum, we have our specific like dun 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 or like just kind of mixing things up. And then with Warren, we kind of do that. I don't know how to describe this musically. It probably sounds like nonsense to people. I don't really even know what I'm saying, but just like really precise hits and precise timing with certain hits, like all of us doing things together. But yeah,
because with like those hits at that build up to the cutout, it's almost it's not an offbeat, but you know how most of the song was like da 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 da.
yeah, it doesn't have it's not swing.
But
it doesn't
the
have
hit,
swing to it anymore.
Those hits are like it's not like da 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 da. It's more like ba
Da,
ba
da,
ba ba
yeah,
ba
it's
ba.
just straight on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It, it loses
We're
it
idiots.
loses the swing, I guess is the technical term.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song, it's like chill, and then a minute in is when me and my guitar come in, and I always like doing the song live too because I feel like it's one of the better songs. I'm better at like actually singing and stuff and sounding like I'm actually a good singer. So
Yeah.
so I like how I can be if I actually try.
You are.
So I like how I ended up sounding, and Matt got to do a little extra layer of harmony for this one too on the "Don't Know I'm Running Away" part. And then we all like sang our gang vocal parts at the end, which was super fun, and we like our gang vocals.
Yes, we
but
do.
we don't overdo it, which is good. We just have dashes of it here and there.
Yeah.
It's not like a trope for us, but it's something we like to do.
We're not some punk band.
Yeah. But yeah, this song's beautiful, and
Thank you.
Actually, I don't know if you know. I feel like I mentioned to you once, but we up until the song cuts out again, and it's the piano build up again, where you start saying "Don't tell me that you hate me." That first build up. Up until that point, we actually didn't use a metronome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I told
Which
you
I
that.
forgot.
Yeah, you like forgot we did that, but I remember doing that was interesting, and we kind of had to redo the drums a couple times, but we wanted the first half of that song to be kind of the same idea as Worn. Yeah, just like that chill, like real, like, because we felt like if it was too tight and specific, like a song that's just really soft and simple, if it's too tight, it kind of loses that vibe of just being roomy and like comfy. I don't know how to describe it, but I mean we use a metronome starting at that build up because then it gets loud and crazy. That needs a metronome.
Yeah.
But the beginning part we didn't use a metronome at all. He just recorded the drums and we just kind of went off that. But but that was really cool. And then that's like our most like clean song, I feel, because it's really just piano, bass, and guitar, and like really simple
pretty
until the
stripped
end.
down.
Of course, it's very like stripped down. It's a little folk ballad.
The first half is, very kind of like our traditional folky rock kind of feel to it. Got some mandolin in there, and it just builds up from there into this all out jammer.
Yeah.
And
it's really loud, all of us singing at the same time, booming guitars, and the drums get louder, and
not to mention the strings
on
it.
So yeah, we got basically a one woman orchestra.
Yeah.
So she recorded like 30 layers of herself playing violin, and that's in there. So that's real. If you hear that, it's not fake. That's a real orchestra technically,
which
just recorded by one person.
In our original demo, I wrote the string part.
Yeah.
At least the melody.
Yeah, we composed it, and then she just kind of re-recorded it for us on a real violin.
And I fought for it. Like, I knew that the song wasn't going to be complete without that string part.
Because I remember for a while, even I was on the side of like, do we really need to do this? This is expensive, and you wanted it, and I was like, let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah. So
like, I got on board eventually, and because I was like, okay, like this is super important, so let's do it. And then I kind of ended up convincing everyone, and, but yeah, we ended up paying for that, and then it turned out really beautiful, and it's
Ginty McTavish.
Yeah, Ginty McTavish.
Which originally, I asked her, I was like, hey, can you just record the violin part? Like,
yeah, I was like, it was her idea to do all the extra layers.
She heard the demo, and she's like, do you want this to be a full like string ensemble thing? I'm like, if you want to, yeah. She's like, yeah, I'll do it. And she layered everything. She didn't even have a cello. What she did was that she recorded it like as usual, like a violin, but they had a software that lowered it and made it sound like a cello.
Which it's really convincing.
It is. You probably can't. you probably can't hear it.
Yeah,
like,
it's not
in the
like
mix of all of it.
it's definitely not the lead instrumentation. Like everything is pretty equal.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it definitely adds an extra layer.
It pops out.
Yeah. If you like listen for it, you can hear it really clearly. But it's definitely not
You're
like,
making it sound like you can't really hear it.
yeah. Well, I mean, like, because some people might think it's just one violin, but if you listen more, you can hear the extra layers to it, you know? But I mean, you can hear it without trying
I think
to
you
listen
can hear
for
it pretty good.
You definitely
honestly.
can. But I mean, I'm glad it's not overpowering everything too, because like the guitar and like everything else is like really great and awesome with it too.
Yeah.
So everything just complements each other really equally, I feel like. And he did a really good job mixing that. And I also thought it might be a cool idea at some point to do a really stripped down version of the whole song, but have the violins just like with violins and an acoustic guitar and like make an acoustic version of the song.
That'd be cool.
I'm like, that'd be cool and really pretty and stuff. But for now, it really complements that ending part and it's like really beautiful and triumphant.
And also to show how above and beyond that Jinty went, she wrote a additional like for part for the build up.
Yeah, the
which
it's so
was
cool.
like,
Yeah, it's
which we didn't originally
it's very
ask
like
her.
classic ballroom feeling,
Yeah.
like the do 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 do
Yeah.
do. It's really awesome though.
She didn't even ask me. She's like, "Hey, I recorded a part for that. If you don't
Yeah.
like it, you don't have to." But I was like, "Heck yeah, we want
Yeah,
this.
it was great.
This is great."
She did so good with that.
Which I think I in my head I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool if we could like do a build up part," but I'm not gonna ask her to do that. But
Yeah.
she just did it.
yeah,
So
she's great.
Nothing's like the truth from your mouth. I'm just trying to be real. And nothing's like the feel of the hair on your skin. I don't know why I'm running away. And nothing's like the truth from your mouth. And I'm just trying to be real. And nothing's like the feel of the hair on your skin. I don't know why I'm running away.
I believe her husband engineered all of her takes, and I've never met this woman.
Yeah.
None of us. I think Nick was the
suggested-
one who recommended her.
Yeah.
But hope to meet her and her husband someday soon. She lives in Chicago.
Yeah.
But just thank you so much to Jinty to really I believe she really elevated the song. From what it was, it was okay, but I always knew that string part needed to be in there.
Yeah,
and she made it possible.
It's just like that, like perfect cherry on top. Like it wouldn't be the same without it, really. So I think it ended up really just making the song shine, and it just lifts the mood up even more for it because it's like a triumphant ending, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, the progression of that song is really good. Just the way it builds up, and it's really intense, and that recording is really good.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably going to end up being it's already someone's favorite according to Instagram.
Yeah,
one of our
one of our
pledgers.
pledgers.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a lot of people's favorite. I think that might be. I mean, it's a long song, so maybe most people, but I feel like Glow or Infinite may be the more popular one. But I feel like that one's gonna be like a really big hit with a lot of people.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think sound wise, I think not to say the other songs are not accessible, but I think that's our most like accessible song in terms of like, because it's pretty simple. It's just like guitars and like violin. It's not like synth and crazy and all that. It's just a really solid, triumphant ballad, like a folk rock ballad at the end. So
yeah, I agree.
And it's the best way.
Nicely.
Yeah, it's the perfect way to end that EP. And like I knew from the start that was going to be that. Not me alone, obviously. I mean, we all thought that was definitely like the ending.
Yeah.
That's definitely a last song on an EP or an album.
Yeah.
If that would have been like the second or third song, it's like, okay,
Well,
like that has to
peaked.
be like
What else is
that's
there?
like totally a last song,
Yeah,
So.
it just has that feel to it, very anthemy and very climactic. And
Yeah.
so it just made sense.
Totally.
So,
Yeah,
sarcasms.
and every time I listen to it, I get goosebumps because I'm like, I'm in this, and it's cool. And
It's like when you first listen to
Like, I love- I
our first
genuinely-
EP, you're like, I'm not in this, but I love it.
yeah, and now it's like with No Retreat and this, it's like I'm in these and they're good.
I don't know why I'm running away.
Yeah.
Screaming children
They're
upstairs.
I think
Um,
they're leaving.
Oh, okay.
So
But yeah, this is and I'm biased because I'm in this band, but I like legitimately just listen to this. I mean, obviously I have it right now, obviously because I'm in the band, so I get it early, of course. But I mean, I've been listening
we've
to
had
it.
early for a while.
I've been listening to it like a lot to the point to where I should probably be tired of it, but I'm just not because it's just I just think they're really good and we put so much work into them, and Nick put so much work into it to make it sound as good as they do, and we brought our vision for this. I think this is like as good as we could have made this. Like I can't imagine wanting to make these songs any other way.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't even, like, with No Retreat, it's like we made the song perfect. Like, yeah, it could have been done in a studio, but sound-wise, like, I think we did as good as like, this one is, like, literally as good as it could be. Like,
Yeah.
we could go to any studio and re-record it, but I feel like this is, like, the best these songs could sound, especially because we worked with a producer who knew what we wanted it to sound like.
Yeah. I mean, this couldn't have sounded as good as it does without Nick.
And I mean, not to keep tooting our own horn, but I mean, I'm proud of us, so I'm going to say
allowed
it.
to on
I'm going to
this
say
episode.
it, and I'm going to sound full of myself, but some of these songs could be like on radio or like really big popular hits, or I feel like people would hear this and probably assume that they're really big popular songs, like with big popular bands, you know? I don't think maybe except for Warren, but like Glow, and I'm stuttering a lot, I'm sorry. Glow, Infinem, Sarcasms, I feel like people would listen to those songs.
Even Warren, though, because
Warren is still really solid too, though. But
it's just got that vibe to it. That's, you know, it does have the DIY kind of feel to it, but it's intentional and it's not like,
exactly, yeah.
And it's not like we didn't.
It doesn't sound like sloppy. It sounds intentionally.
And it doesn't
loose.
sound. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a mistake where it's like, oh, this is like as good as we
like, oh, they messed up a lot.
Sound.
It's like, no, they just, you know, we weren't
like
trying.
Unlike some tracks on our earlier EPs.
Yeah, it's like,
where
oh, you were very flat there, or, you know, stuff like that.
Which, you know, with our earlier stuff, I would always be like, you know, I guess when it came to like submitting songs to like playlists or radio stations or whatever, I would always be a little insecure. And be like, here you go.
Yeah, because there's mistakes, and
yeah,
I think people could probably tell.
Yeah, but now with like this EP, I can be like, bam, here you go.
And if they didn't know we had a small following and we were just a little local band, I think they would just assume we're like a popular rock band or something. Honestly, I really genuinely think if someone were to just have this come across them on a Spotify Discovery Weekly, they wouldn't be like, oh, it's some local band. I think they would just assume it's like a really like well solidified band.
Which that's already been happening with Glow as the single.
Yeah. Because that's up to like 6,500 streams right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's our most popular song because it deserved to be. Because for a while it was Outside, and Outside's really good, but Glow was the one that was like our first studio hit that sounded like a real like professional song.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I keep saying it, but I think that these songs, if they caught the right ear, I have no doubt that these songs would, you know, gain a huge following. I really believe that. I mean, you could say that for any band. You really could say that for any band. I mean, look at John Darnielle from the Mountain Goats. He made a following recording stuff on a boombox, you know. But I mean, I'm just saying for today, for a general audience of people who, you know, listen to stuff and, you know, will judge it based off the quality of the recording of stuff on a surface level, you know, I think, you know, we would shock people. I think some people would be shocked if they listened to some of these and then learned we only have a couple hundred listeners on Spotify, or we only have 1,000, you know, almost maybe like 1,800 likes on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think that we went above and beyond what people probably think we're capable of, honestly. And yeah,
I
we
mean,
had a
we're
really
based
nice
on reactions already.
Yeah, and we have a nice producer and good gear, but I think it's the songs too. If we have you can take a bad song and use as professional of equipment as you want, but you can't make a bad song good just with some expensive microphones and auto tuning. Like I think we crafted something really good and professional sounding and well thought out here, and I'm proud of it, and I don't care how full of myself I sound. And I'm like, and I'm not even one who wrote them, I'm just part of the band, I mean I helped construct them and stuff, but they're your songs, technically. So I'm kind of speaking on your behalf in a way, but I mean I'm proud of it.
No, thank you. Yeah. I don't have to
I don't have to
my
repeat
own
all
music.
that.
You just have you.
Yeah, exactly.
But what was I gonna say?
Yeah, I'm awesome. Yeah,
I don't think there's been. I think it's a good testimony where you're happy and proud of your own music.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in the past we haven't been as confident as we are now with these songs.
True.
So it's kind of like a stepping stone for us.
Yeah.
We're just excited to, have music of such good quality.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't have done it on our own. I mean, maybe we could have tried, but it wouldn't have.
And we'll probably make stuff on our own again because we're not going to spend, thousands of dollars on on the studio, every year.
We'll see.
But I mean, maybe at some point we'll have we'll go to the studio again, of course, but we'll probably still have DIY projects every now and then. But
yeah.
But I think I'm just excited to see what we end up doing next because I think Still My Soul is the bridge from, this is going to sound corny, but it's like the bridge from old to new. And I think it's just a really good symbol of transit, because we all, we were all in our early 20s. I mean, we're still in our early 20s, but now we're more in our mid 20s at this point,
Mm-hmm.
I see pictures of me years ago when I joined, and I'm like skinny and
She's so little,
baby face, and we all just looked
you can
so
see
different.
Your jawline.
Yeah, it's 4 years ago, which isn't that long, but we all just look so different. We all have different jobs and live in different places now, and
they all have different hair.
Yeah, yeah, different experiences in life and different levels of, experience with music and recording and stuff. And I think this EP is the official stamp of yep, the old is gone, and now we're in this new part of our life, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it feels for me, which is probably why I have such which I mean, I'll have a personal attachment to any music I'm a part of, but this especially is we started it a year ago, and then we had this huge transition in all of our lives, with work and home and, just all kinds of crazy stuff happening in our lives, good or bad. And now that's all finally settled, and it feels like we're all in a steady place in life again. And now this EP is about to come out after all of that.
Yeah.
It's just perfect timing.
I'm very proud of us actually getting this thing out because we had quite a few obstacles in the way.
Yeah, especially even just geographically, Chandler and Chicago, you and Pekin, me and Matt and Normal, and
our lives got in the way, but also situations got in the way. We had financial problems.
Yeah,
where the company that was helping us fund our EP declared bankruptcy.
Yeah, and didn't give us our money.
So thank goodness we had some other paid gigs and some very
generous
benefactors.
Yeah.
That helped us get that out there, but we still also had to pay for a lot of extra stuff, getting the CDs printed and
then
blah,
the
blah,
strings
blah.
and shirts and you know. And it was pretty much all out of pocket, essentially.
But we did it, and it's finally coming out, or / come out.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we've been sitting on it for so long.
This is basically, it shouldn't be, and It shouldn't have been, but it was because of life. But this was like a 1.5-year project almost.
Yeah, for a 5
And like
song
for what
EP.
probably should have been like a few months.
Yeah.
At most, but and we'll tell people, yeah, we've been working on this for 2 years. It's like we haven't been working on it for 2 years. It just took 2 years to make it.
Yeah,
Because
not
we
to
all
mention-
have full-time jobs and it's hard to get together and and do things. It's like, oh, can we have to get together at some point to record the vocals for this song and then send it to the producer? And it was hectic and pretty, and so it was intense. And sometimes it got tense between us too, like trying to get it out and being stressed and trying to. And I'm still proud of us because, I see bands like hate each other sometimes. Like we'll be at a show and band members will be arguing. It just seems like they don't like to be around each other. And like at worst, we've had small spats over, do we want to do this thing? But we always like talk about it and figure it out.
Yeah,
But it's never been like bad. Like I've never like gone home and been like pissed about something. Like I feel like we've had
Just kidding.
Like we've had disagreements over things, but I feel like even if we've had our heated moments, we still get it figured out and we all end up with something we're happy with.
Yeah.
That's what's cool is like we're not putting out a song that maybe someone is like not enjoying. Like it seems like we're all really proud of what we've done and we're all excited for it to come out. And I just see so many bands where they're at a show and they just don't seem like they enjoy being together, and after all this time it still feels like we'll just, and I mean we don't just do band stuff, like we just hang out as friends.
Right.
Still we're not just bandmates.
I
I live with Matt, you, me, and Chandler and Trenton, and like I do the church thing with Trenton and stuff. Like we all do things together so much more outside of just the band, and I think that's what's really cool. And
even while I've moved out of town,
yeah.
So.
I feel like I somehow still haven't seen you any less than I would have if you still lived in Bloomington. So, which is good. But it's just definitely interesting because, especially with music, people get heated with each other in bands because, everyone music is very, it's all right. Music is very subjective and people want to do things. And, if someone says they don't like your idea, but maybe it's something you like, it's hard to not take it personally. And I think that's why a lot of bands break up or get heated with each other or hate each other after a while because, it's hard to artistically work together and put out one product that's like an amalgamation of everyone's artistic input because everyone's a little different, but I think I'm really impressed with how we've all worked together and been able to make something that we're all proud of. And because we all have different tastes in music. I mean, we all listen to a lot of the same stuff, but we still, like, when it comes to our favorites and our inspirations, I think we're all pretty different. But I just think we've done really well sticking together, and especially like when Chandler comes down, we're always excited to see Chandler and stuff like that. I'm glad that the band I'm in is like with friends and not just like people. It's like, all right, meet you next Sunday at 7. All right, cool. It's like we're more than a band, and I appreciate that. And I think that reflects in our music because, it's funner to make music in an environment of people that like and love and respect each other than just trying to get something out because you have to.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There's my emotional speech. Music.
Yeah, so
it's important.
Still My Soul by Sherwood Forest. By now it'll be out on all the platforms, so
literally everything.
Yeah.
iTunes, Spotify, Google Play.
Which that reminds me, I gotta put it on Bandcamp.
Oh yeah.
But check it out. iTunes, Spotify. iTunes and Bandcamp will be a way that you can support us financially.
Yeah.
Spotify, not as much, but
we understand the convenience of it, so use Spotify. It's totally fine.
Also, those streams are not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So give us those stream numbers.
Use,
buy the CD and listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah. We're not discouraging Spotify. Use Spotify. It's great. We love the numbers make us look good, and we love that. So do Spotify, but I mean, if you want to, you can buy, do whatever you want, but I mean, you obviously don't have to, we're not telling you to buy it, but just we have to at least put it out there that we're willing to accept it.
Right. Yeah.
So
I don't fully agree with all these artists that are always bashing on Spotify.
yeah, Spotify is great, and
It has its uses.
I use it all the time. It's very convenient, and like I could never discourage using it because I use it and I understand how easy it is, and it's great.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Still My Soul EP. Hope you like it.
Yeah.
Did you love it? Did you like it?
oh my god.
Let me know.
What do you think Fantana would rate Still My Soul?
I
I feel like we'd be lucky to get a 6.
Stylistically, I don't think it's really his thing.
No,
And we're talking about Anthony Fantano, the needle drop on YouTube. He's like,
I feel like we'd get like a 6.
I was thinking more like a 5.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. That's just kind of average.
I feel like he would think that Glow is just kind of like, basic uninspired rock song, and then he'd probably like Infinem, and then he'd probably not like Warren that much, and then he'd probably say Sarcasm.
Well, he could love Warren.
That's true.
Because it's organic.
Yeah.
But if it was like,
I don't know, who cares?
I review your music or whatever.
Yeah.
I think he would be impressed.
I've submitted Glow a couple times to those because I was curious, but
yeah.
Well, I made thumbnail status on one of his videos, so
yeah,
it's not
so you
out
gotta
of the,
use that clout.
I need to keep submitting crap because I know it's possible now. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it is. We didn't talk about this before, but I believe it's your turn for a recommendation.
Oh, that's
for
true.
This episode.
So I'll go ahead and I actually didn't have this prepared for. I'm gonna go ahead and recommend. And you recommended 2 last time, right?
No.
No. Okay. I'll recommend. I'm trying to decide if I want to recommend like a movie. I'm gonna recommend an album.
Okay.
So, what do I want to listen to right now? So I've been listening to a band called Rat Boys recently.
Okay.
I had a friend of mine that showed them to me. They're pretty new. They don't have a lot of albums, but I've been listening specifically to their album GN. G like George, N like Nancy, literally just the 2 letters. It came out in 2017. It's, if you're kind of into the whole Pine Grove like indie alt country thing, it's great. The singer, she has a really cool voice, and there's a lot of like slide guitar, like country-ish vibes. But it's just kind of indie rock, and it's just chill, and it's great tunes. I actually just got it on vinyl in the mail recently because I liked it that much. But it's really solid. The song Elvis in the Freezer is their most popular song. It almost has 1 million streams. So they're not like stupidly popular, but they definitely have a following. But yeah, they have 2 full-length albums right now, and I think they're probably coming out with one soon. But yeah, it's great. I really enjoy it. It's just like good indie rock, great guitar tones, good guitar melodies and riffs, great vocalist, and yeah, they're just cool. I like it a lot. So check them out. Rat Boys, GN.
Rat Boys.
On anything probably. So
on.
And if you listen to one song, listen to Elvis in the Freezer.
What is? Oh, I was gonna say Napster.
Oh yeah,
on Napster.
On Napster, the best. So yeah, there's my recommendation. I was gonna suggest one other, but it's like way more popular, so I figured I'd go with something a little less known. So
yeah,
cool.
I like it.
Yeah,
cool. Well, thanks for giving us a chance to toot our own horn for about 2 hours.
Yeah, we pretty much just like talked about how awesome we are for 2 hours. But like whatever, we
get to talk about other stuff.
We put a lot of money and time and effort into it, so we're allowed to show off a bit now.
Exactly.
It took a long time,
so
we're good.
Hope you enjoy that. Hope you enjoy our music.
Yeah. And
next episode, it'll be our original. It'll be our normal content.
Yeah.
And all that.
Do we want to tease what we'll talk about next time?
We're gonna talk about movies.
Yeah. Should we say what movies?
We were planning to talk about Joker.
Yep.
It's a hot topic these days.
Yeah, we can use some clickbait on that because people love listening to people talk about Joker for some reason.
There aren't enough opinions about that movie.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Which is
very limited release right now.
Eggers?
Yeah. So hopefully by the time we release that, more people have gotten a chance to see it. But we'll talk about that last, in case you want to avoid spoilers. But Yeah, we're gonna talk about those movies since they're hot button topics right now.
I'm sorry
and,
I keep coughing.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm dying. So.
Dying on the inside.
Yep.
But yeah,
Cool.
so that's
Well,
what we'll get into.
We'll see you then. We'll see you on the other side. I don't know
ya.
what that means, but we'll see you.
Bye. Thanks. Love you.
Bye, everyone. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love you, love you, love you. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Podwood Forecast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe. And if you'd like for us to give you a shout out on the show, be sure to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And also feel free to look in the show notes for links to our social media at Twitter and Facebook. And as always, stay beautiful, and thanks for listening.